What is going on? What is going on, good people? Shout out to everybody in the building. We're about to definitely get into this thing. Coming off the last two shows were definitely some good ones. Hopefully, I can reproduce some of that magic today. We're going to be covering a number of things, but the main story is what happened on Bill Maher, where basically the stuff that we've been talking about down here in the like I said before, the Manosphere was like we underground rappers, and now the things that we've been doing is going mainstream now. We just saw a really big manifestation of that on the Bill Maher show. We saw a really big manifestation of that on the Bill Maher show. So, our voices are being heard. So we're going to be getting into that. So strap on in. Let's get ready to go. As soon as I find the intro, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is up? What's going on? Good people? Glad to be back in the building. I see y'all in here. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the early bird squad. Those of you that make it in bright and early, drop comment. Hopefully a like before we even get started. So yeah. Yeah, hold on. I gotta send one quick message real quick. I had to send that quick message. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Shout out to Paul Game in the building. He says, I saw that, and Bill Maher was parroting Kevin Samuels' quote, "Then you will be alone." Yeah, he basically said, "Then get a dog and die." Choking on my spit here. He basically said, "Get a dog and die alone." Bill Maher basically said that. That shit was funny. It was funny, and I'm going to get into the part of the show that ultimately made him say that. It was a very weird thing that happened. It was very weird how that played out. But like I said in the little pre-ramble, that basically the things that we've been talking about in this space is hitting the mainstream. Everybody always talk about, would a manosphere go mainstream? And somebody said it, somebody predicted it. I don't know who it was. He said the manosphere may not, the individuals in the space may not, but the ideas will. And that has certainly happened. But Little Rock in the building says, yo, LB Crypto in the building says, let's go for the #1 show in the Black Manosphere. When you come in, hit the like button and share the program. But nah, the Riley. LB Crypto forever and always overrating me, saying the best show in the Manosphere, but he overrating me, but I appreciate it. Logan JJ in the building says, if society promotes, supports, and glorifies women's behavior, bad or indifferent, without holding them accountable, what did they think was going to happen? What did they think was going to happen? World Free in the building says, what I think it means, okay, not. Oh, we're Bernard. Okay. All right. Got you. That's OG voice. I got it. I was slow on that one, but I got it. Space Kitchen in the building. He says, ready for a good show. Absolutely. What's up, Shaka Nulu? Mike and Vince Perkins in the building. More than likely, that's Mike. Shout out to Mike. He says, oops, I forgot to hit the like button. Absolutely. Go in and hit it. Never too late to hit the like button. Never too late to hit the like button. But shout out again to Red Scorpion, World Free, E Capone. So yeah, we in here. Shout out to everybody in the building, but we about to go ahead and get into this. Shout out to Hood Conservative, who did an excellent one-on-one with him after the aftermath of Cynthia G and Dr. Umar Johnson being on the same panel at the same time on Fox Soul. That was definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting breakdown of the whole sorts. I've been looking at other people's reaction, and a lot of people are, of the view like, oh, he cooked her, and in some ways, you could say that. In some ways, I understand how you could say that. I mean, I was rooting for him. But it's like, one person saying black men haven't done nothing, and then he reel off a history of everything black men has done, and some people like, yeah, he cooked her. It was a weird conversation because just the overall angles of the conversation, it was just going in a way where it's talking past the point, where one person clearly came in with locked and loaded, just ready to fight, and Umar trying to give the historical context and the breakdown of this and the breakdown of that. Like, it was 51 minutes long. He didn't realize at the 41-minute mark that he was in a goddamn fight. That was when he finally realized he was in a fight. But anyway, let's get this thing going. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the main thing. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the main story. But Rod of God in the building says, congrats on the back-to-back fire streams. Yeah, they was fire. They was no doubt fire. Shout out to Rod of God. Appreciate you showing support. Appreciate everybody who support the stream. Y'all been supporting hard and heavy. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you. But we about to go ahead and dig right on into this. He only said you said abort black male babies at the end. Yeah, no, he started it was another moment where he was firing back. It was another moment where he was firing back. He didn't he was operating like he didn't realize the degree in which he was in a fight. That's how he was operating. He was on some, and I just, trying to explain this to my beautiful sisters, even though one of them, they do that a lot. They have relationship panels where it just be a mixture of. I did a little research on that particular offshoot channel of Fox Soul. They do something where they have relationship panels, or panels where they talk about, the social dynamics between black men and black women. And they always got somebody gay on the panel. Always. Even though it's be a discussion mostly about black men and black women. In the relationship or dynamics between black men and black women. So it'd be odd when a gay person weighs in and gives their take on that. That's all I'll say. I ain't trying to go in on that. I ain't trying to go in on that today. We hit that pretty hard. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the topic today. Nearly 100 people in here, so make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. This was let me start this over. Oh, yeah, I can't see it. Admin, when I put something down there and you, well, never mind. I think you can click on stuff and pull it up when I don't do it right. When I think something up and it's not up, go ahead and pull that up for me. Go ahead and just pull it up for me. But all right, let's get on. Let's get on into this. Let's get on into this. Let me put on my headpiece. Yeah, gay, trans, and heterosexual black relationship conversation. Yeah, everybody in it, all in, all in. That's what they do on Foxo. That's what they do on Foxo. But all right, let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, this was very interesting conversation that took place. Very interesting conversation that took place on Bill Maher, which is a mostly liberal show, even though Bill Maher will call out the left on their real loony shit. He's people debate on he's an independent. He refers to himself as the Democrat, as being on that side. He says he thinks the Democratic Party is redeemable. He don't think the Republican Party is. He's more Democrat, definitely more Democrat than Republican, but he's been lately calling out the Democrats on their bullshit. He's been doing that a lot lately. So let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Root cause. Why are men in such crisis? I mean, the stats are like only 40% go to college. So they're losing out to women there in a big way. And women with degrees don't marry men who don't have degrees. So like, great, you'll be lonely forever, aren't you? Why are you cheering that? That's not.
I didn't tell my wife.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. He pointed out the simple fact that something that we've been pointing out here is getting really close to 1 out of 3. It's getting really close to 1 out of 3 on the college campus. Or that would be right. The 1 to 2 ratio. I'm botching the ratios, but it's getting really close to being 33, 33-66. 33% of the college campus is men, 66% of it is women. But right now it's 40. It's about 40-60 right now. It's 40-60. It's closing. It's going down. It's going down. It's 40-60. It's 40-60. And keep in mind, they will still turn around and say that patriarchy, the evil patriarchy is stopping women from doing what women want to do. That's what they say. That's what they say, and that's how they talk about it. But I said it once, I said it again. If you're going to define the patriarchy as simply men hold the majority of the Senate seats, then you have a pretty shitty definition of a patriarchy. If the patriarchy is operating in a way to where the school system itself is more beneficial or more female leaning, to the point to where women get overall better outcomes in school. Because when we're talking about kids, okay, when we're talking about kids, we're not talking about grown men. Where we if a grown man, if something not right in your life, then you got to go figure that shit out. And I probably got the wrong approach on that. But I'm like, hey, whatever. No matter how bumpy this terrain is, you got to figure out how to drive on it. But if you're talking about outcomes of children at the school, and girls are getting significantly better outcomes at the school, that's something structural baked into the cake of the system. So it's like you can't deny that. If we're talking about kids, something is different here. Keep in mind, this ain't the black-white conversation where black women throw their black girl magic parade as if they're just doing significantly better than the men, and blah 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 blah, as if they're doing significantly better than black men. This ain't that type of black girl magic parade. This is like the overall broad perspective on it. This is the overall broad perspective on it that they're talking about here. Well, let's go ahead and dig. Oh yeah, forgot the funniest part. The funniest part of it is after he pointed out 40% of the men that on a college campus, 60% of the women is 60% women, 40% men. 40% men. I think that's the graduation rate. And he said, and women with degrees don't marry men with degrees. And the women celebrated and cheered that. Nothing highlights or showcases more that in this post second wave of feminist world that they view marriage is more of a status symbol than is anything else. They they want to marry a man with a certain amount of status or prestige. It's that's what they're looking at it as. You don't have a degree, we can't get married. Like that's how they're looking at it, a status symbol. Because if he would have just said women don't want to marry a man that makes less money, that's one thing. That's one thing, and maybe they are ignorant enough to interpret not having a degree means you make less money to them, which we know that that's not true. Somebody can get that degree and get some job stapling papers at an office in a cubicle somewhere, and somebody could be a construction worker and still make more. We know and understand that, but the mere fact that they're not even looking at it in terms of money and income. They're just looking at it in terms of just the superficial status symbol of I'm married, somebody wanted to marry me, somebody thought enough of me to marry me, and this person who thought enough to marry me is of a particular status. But if that doesn't happen, we're content with just going rogue and being solo. And I always say that you cannot blame the high marriage out of the low birth rate. That's a whole nother thing. We'll get into that. But you can't blame the out of wedlock birth rate on men when you see women clapping for shit like that. You can't blame it. Those women who are clapping, they still fucking. They still will end up pregnant. Like but so that those are the things those are the things that don't get discussed, but they right on the brink of discussing it. Shout out to 150 people in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button to see y'all down there in the building. See y'all down in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Let's go.
They don't marry as much, which I think is great, but other people think that's a terrible thing. Okay, people do like a mate, whatever. That's whatever you blow.
And shout out to Bill Maher on that. He hold the line. He do hold the line on that. He's anti-marriage. He's anti-marriage, and he hold the line on that. He got his perspective on that, and he stand on his square. For his own selfish reasons. He think it's great. I think it's great that they're not marrying as much. but he acknowledges the larger problem aside from his personal being single for life. He's essentially on some he's essentially on some single for life fuck a relationship. I'm rich, I'm famous, I got money, I'm smashing these chicks, and that's that. I don't need a mate. I can hire somebody to do all the little things that need to be done. That's what Bill Maher is on. He don't got no kid. Bill Maher's essentially a MGTOW. He don't claim it, but he's essentially a MGTOW. Somebody said, why can't you talk right, Bernard? Did I say something wrong, or is this person trolling? Did I say something wrong, or is this person trolling? We'll let it ride. We'll let it ride. Shout out to 169 people in the building. Shout out to 169 people in the building.
Floats by. But there is something going on. I mean, mass shootings is a uniquely male crime. It's always because some dude in Buffalo, had somebody swipe left on him too much. I feel like that's what's going on here.
Now, I don't like the oversimplification of it because some dude in Buffalo had somebody swipe left on him too much. I always say that typically if somebody is crazy enough to shoot into a crowd of people, they're crazy, and their crazy would have manifested in some kind of way. Whatever was going wrong in society, it would have landed. That person would have developed some religious ideology and probably hurt somebody. But the thing that people are clinging to, that's becoming the root cause to trigger their craziness, is the social climate between men and women. And I like to look at it and think of it as not that bad. And I don't like how he oversimplified that. But it is something to get into. They're gonna talk about what we talk about a lot, how there's a huge discrepancy in male options versus female options, and how a lot of men are left dancing with the music stop when the music stopped, and they go, we can look all through the history and see what happens in a society when when men when men are deprived of certain things. Pussy. We know that we know what happened in plenty of societies when that happens, and we right here is happening here. It's happening here. And dude, shout out to ARC. He was predicting that it was going to be more like raging out incel type of violence. And I push back against that, and to some degree I still do. Because I always say crazy is crazy. And it's not necessarily the absence. It's not necessarily the absence of somebody just can't get a woman. A mentally healthy person who can't get a woman would just be happy playing Call of Duty, eating pizza, and jacking off every now and then, and jacking off, and then every blue moon he gets some ass. You gotta. That's what a mentally healthy person would do. You gotta be mentally unhealthy to take not being able to get access to women to a crazy raged out mass shooter. That's just my view on that. But let's move on and watch a little bit more of this.
Is a lot of sort of maleness coming to the fore and announcing itself in violence and racism and hatred because they're lonely and lost and feel that they are not useful in society.
The most sense.
Now, the same group of women who was clapping when he said women aren't going to marry men who women with degrees aren't going to marry men who don't got degrees, and women was like, yeah, start clapping. Then he pointed out some of the implications of women being that much more educated than men. And it's across the board. There's no even talking about these. They clearly ain't talking about black people. Like I always say, it's across the board. All women are more educated than their men. Women overall in this country are more educated than men. The same women who clapped when he said women with degrees don't want to marry men who don't got degrees. Now, when he broke down some of the implications of men being lonely, the same women, they clapped like, yeah, that's a problem in society. When he said that, well, women, y'all play when he pointed out how women play a part of it, that was a celebration. It's like they don't see that part. And keep in mind, I always say, no matter how, as men, we men, right? No matter how bumpy the terrain is, you got to figure out how to drive on it. But we can look at things from a broad sociological perspective and statistical perspective and break down what's happening on a large scale to groups. We can break that down. But if I'm talking to any individual, I'm like, hey, you got to roll up your sleeves and figure this shit out. You don't get to create the world, you just live in it. And, you could do some things to try to change it. But right now, nigga, you're living in it. But let's go.
How did we get there?
The most unstable nations in the world have one thing in common, and that is they have too many lonely, broke, and alone men. It's the most dangerous person in the world. Salman Rushdie wasn't attacked because of the fatwa. He was attacked because a guy was living in his mother's basement. We have a crisis among young men, and it starts at a young age. Young men are twice as likely on a behavior-adjusted basis to be suspended. 7 in 10 high school valedictorians are women. For every two female graduates from college in the next 5 years, you only have one. The scariest stat, walking down the avenue that is America, only 1 in 3 men under the age of 30 have had sex in the last year. And you hear sex and your brain fires. But the bottom line is, it's a key step to the elemental foundation of any society, and that is relationships.
Now, tell me he hasn't been listening to this space. Hoodservative says they aren't supposed to care. Now, I'm not saying that they're supposed to care. I'm pointing out that they're too stupid or ideologically blinkered to even see the contradiction. That's what I'm pointing out. when he pointed out all the things that men are going to in the societal, the larger scale societal effects of that, you know, they clapped like, oh, that's a really good point. That's what happens when men are, you know, men are treated this way or brought up this way, and they're brought up this way as boys, and then they turn out this way, and then they, you know, these outcomes of men result in certain actions. They acknowledged it as a problem, and they clapped at the good point that he made. But when he talked about how, you know, women with degrees, and the stats show it, women with degrees don't want to marry a man with degree, but so many more women have degrees than men, and women, they're just not going to get together. And really, the degreed marriages, those are the marriages that tend to work. So basically the reasons why that they're like Bill Maher said when he low-key lightweight parroted Kevin Samuels that you're going to die alone. The reasons why the reasons why is like they can clap for it and cheer like it's a victory rap. It's a victory lap for them. Yeah, we got our degree, we got our education, and we're not going to marry a guy who doesn't. They clapped and gave a victory lap for that. And then when they broke down the societal implications, and they everything that men are going through, and it's a problem, and how this problem is manifesting sometimes in violence. Oh yeah, they clap for that too, and didn't even realize that they just recently was in contradiction. But shout out to Hood Conservative once again. He says, no, what I'm saying is called solipsism. Women have an inability to understand some events beyond their own perspective, but we're also told that they are the emotionally mature people with the big emotional vocabularies, and they and they're the empaths. I mean, they have all the empathy. We're told all of that though. You see, that's what we're told. We're told they're the empathetic ones. Okay. but you know, we see time after time the level of don't give a damn that's in them. They only care that they win. When, put it like this, and I guarantee, I've talked to feminists on this, and you know that 7 out of 10 valedictorians are women coming out of high school. Keep in mind, we're talking about how something is structured. We're not talking about men need to roll up their sleeves and get some skills and take Theo's class and get to training so they get. No, we're talking about boys who, from, you know, the time they got sent to preschool to the graduate high school, didn't have that much control in how they turn out. That's parenting, and the school system is producing 7 out of 10 valedictorians being women. Now, I guarantee any feminist is going to look at that and fist in the air. Yeah, that's excellent. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. If it was the case, which I'm sure it was at one point, 70% of the valedictorians were men. That is a problem. That is a travesty. We have to do something about that. And guess what? They did do something about it. The whole damn school system is changed and geared towards women. It doesn't account or leave room for boys who, you know, got more energy and testosterone and learn differently in the whole works. Like we're talking about boys now. We're talking about boys. Like I'm not making an excuse for grown men. We're talking about boys across the board, all races. So like that's where they run into their largest contradictions. Their largest contradictions where it, as post-war Jackie is saying, they cater to how girls learn and neglect the boys. Shout out to yeah, shout out to Jackie. She did her post-war live stream last night. It was actually pretty good. I watched some of it. Well thought out and creative. We shout out to Rod of God pointing out something that I always point out all the time. They do an overcorrection. I remember when I talked to a male feminist on this show, and we had a similar conversation where we talked about how, you know, that 60-40 graduation rate on the college campus, or the college campus, you know, the college attendance is 60-40, 60% men, 60% women, 40% men. when and he literally said, and that's a good thing. That's good. I'm like, okay, cool. Once upon a time, it was 60% men and 40% women. Was that a good thing? No, that was bad. Okay, so that was bad. So if they brought it to 50-50, I'm sure you would say that was good. Yeah, that would be good. But if it went 60-40 in favor of women, I'm sure you would say that was bad. We need to bring that back down, right? Dude stood right in it and said, no, we don't need to bring that back down. So it's like it's written on the wall. It's written on the wall that they are about female dominance. Outcomes be damned. And the crazy thing is, none of this can happen if men higher up can ply to it. Men higher up can ply to it, and that's a whole nother thing. And that's what they'll try to do. They'll try to flip it back on us. Well, it's men who are in decisions in the decision making chair that pull a lot of those levers. So y'all have men to blame. No, y'all have correctly inceptioned men with y'all personal brand of victimhood, and then they're acquiescing to you. Like, don't say, well, y'all need to go blame y'all gotta blame men. I mean, no, we can blame all y'all, because all y'all are on the same team, apparently. We could blame all of y'all. But so then it turns into the question, are you now acknowledging that it's a legitimate problem? If you're saying that, oh, go blame men, it's men fault pulling the levers. So now are you acknowledging that it's a legitimate problem? No, it's not a legitimate problem. So the problem isn't legitimate. The problem isn't legitimate, but you do want us to just take it up with somebody else, so okay. But that's what it ends up running into. But Useless Familiar in the building says, in 2015, as a meme to clown feminists, people would say they are egalitarian as a way to point out their hypocrisy. To say that they are egalitarian, that's saying all things being equal. That is sort of a feminist position. But we see in some ways, in many ways, that it's about pushing towards female dominance. Right when I say female dominance, I saw SKC's quote. It says female dominance plus male dominance equals no family cooperation plus effed up kids. Yeah. But it's even worse, I think. I don't think it's female dominance plus male dominance. I think it's female dominance plus male acquiescence equals no family cooperation plus effed up kids. I think that's probably the more accurate way to look at that. But shout out to Yusuf Familiar. Do appreciate you coming through on the super chat, and appreciate everybody who supports the stream. Y'all are the real MVPs. Y'all are the real MVPs. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you. Let's go ahead and dig back in.
Young men aren't attaching to work. They aren't attaching to women. They aren't attaching to schools. We are producing too many of the most dangerous person in society. And
when they talk about they're not attaching to work, they're not attaching to women, they're not attaching to school, they're not attaching to women. Now, this dude, he's on point, but I still think that words it that doesn't word it quite correctly, because I think it's the women not attaching to the men. Because just like when he talked about something a study that we made popular in this space, pointing out that 1 out of 3 men under the age of 30 reported no sex in the last year. The study that we made popular around here. If you quote that, it's not. If you understand that study, it's not because, and he's gonna actually debunk sort of what he said, kind of, because he understands that it's not because they're not attaching to women, it's the women not attaching to them. It's the other way around. So I don't know if he probably didn't mean to say it that way, because everything else that he's saying is more or less on point, and that does produce dangerous people in society. But overall, if you're looking at it just in terms of the mass shooter, like mass shooters, even when they happen a lot, they're still rare. Even when they happen a lot, they're still rare. What it does on a larger scale is when the way that society is constructed, when it produces less families, that's when you start to see a mass problem that's bigger than just the isolated incidents of a mass shooter. You start to see in large numbers all the things that he's talking about just getting amplified and cycle being repeated.
We are losing out on a key. We're not going to have kids. We're not going to have a productive society. We're going to have more violence. And also, we're going to have a society that does not value young men. And they do not. Young men are different. They develop later. And by the way, if you're a young man, this work from home thing is a disaster. They need young men. Young men need guardrails. They need to know how to read a room. They need to put on a clean shirt. They know not to get high or drink too much during the week and then get into the office the next day. We have a crisis among young men. It is one of the most, in my view, one of the most dangerous things in our society.
And where do you put the phone in this equation? Because I put it high up. Because, thank you. Because I was reading recently, Tinder, 2-to-1 male to female.
Oh.
What?
No, it's just a startling statistic, yeah.
Right. Well, why is it startling? I mean, it sounds like a great idea. Oh, I can just order women like I do a pizza on my phone. I think I'll have the Kelly today. Except when you go on it, it weeds out the people who aren't the best looking, I think, because it used to be go to a bar. Okay, maybe it was potluck, but you have to be able to learn to 100%. Talk to a woman. I don't think they had to talk to a woman anymore because it's just on the phone. It's just like, what's up?
all facts right there. But as somebody who spent a lot of time, on Tinder at one point, not no more. Not on there anymore, but somebody who spent a lot of time on there. I've said it once, I say it again, that women are worse at that short texting. Just, hey, what's up? Women are worse at that. I got bad at that. I became a short-winded texter because of women. Because I saw typing out a whole damn paragraph was a waste of time. Coming up with something unique and creative to say was a waste of time. A unique, long, written out, well thought out thing to say got just as much response and just as many words in the response as just hitting them with a "Hey, what's up?" Like that. Like I figured that out. Like I'm not talking about some study that did that, and I didn't do a personal study on it. I just was on Tinder, trying to meet women, and I spent like 4 years on there, and yeah, like. Women are the worst at that communication shit that they claim to be good at. No, they be horrible at it. They be horrible at it, and it makes sense as to why. Because they're talking to 50 people when you're talking to 3 people. So there's that. And it's funny how that one guy was like, "Oh, that's a startling statistic." Like you could tell that's somebody. He's probably probably conservative guy, been married for a long time. He don't know nothing about what's going on out there. So he's like, that started like no, of course. of course there's more men on there than women. like how the hell could it be any other way? We're talking about a goddamn dating app. You're talking about the people who got endless options all day, every day. Of course they don't need a dating app as much. If they just have a social media, they have a dating app. Man got a social media, that's not a dating app. He got to try to go somewhere else. You got to go somewhere else for it. Shout out to Silent Lamont. Oh, damn, I got to read that, what you said. A perfect storm. He says, BR, because women think communication is her talking and you just being quiet and listening. Yeah. All day. What we got? Perfect storm in the building with a $5 super chat. $5 super chat. He says, a lot of men are checking out. Why do the dangerous work? Why do the dangerous work when you're not respected? And it's something to that. It's something to that. What you're saying is that men didn't mind getting out there, rolling up their sleeves, doing the hard, dangerous jobs. There was a benefit and a payoff. And listen, and I'm not trying to go, put it like this is where I run into some problems. Okay, if you go listen to Elliot Rogers' car video, and I've heard some other incels say this. Maybe I don't know if Elliot Rogers said this, but I've heard some incels say this, and they was like, if society cannot produce me a wife, or a partner, or I mean, white woman. He said if society can't produce that, then why should I be motivated to give anything to society? And now part of my mind says I understand where he's coming from, but another part of my mind is like, are you saying that society has to give you like a government issued bitch? Like you can't get a government issued woman. Like that doesn't exist. So it's so again, but I don't want to dismiss what's being said, because there's something to that on a large scale. On a large scale, if a large percentage of men are just saying this is a waste of time, I can't get what I want out of this, then I'm not motivated to do my duty to God and country. It's like that. That's what they're essentially saying. And somebody can say that and not have murderous incel rhetoric. Incels is just somebody who just haven't gotten no ass in a long period of time, despite wanting some and despite trying. So being an incel by that definition, it does not mean that you have, some hatred. There's an incel in the ideological sense that has the incel ideology, and there's an incel in the sense of this guy that I worked with, who was one of the best guys I ever met. I was dating a woman in early phases, went out on a date with a chick, and she was trying to play the born again virgin game, and was basically saying she's not having sex again until she married or whatever. And we didn't see each other after that date. I mean, I just, I've told y'all about her. She had a big ass tiger tattoo on her back, a big ass tiger tattoo that covered her whole back and went down to the crack of her ass. But on the first date, telling me that she's haven't had sex in a year and a half and don't plan to have sex again until she married. Now, if she would have showed up without the tiger tramp stamp that went from her shoulders to the crack of her ass, I probably would have believed her. But damn, like you you don't try to find Jesus when it's my turn. God damn it, I wasn't going for that shit. But anyway, Fatty in the building says women are perfect. Stop it, Bernard. Fatty. I actually enjoyed you, even though it was annoying as hell and you got on my damn nerves. I actually enjoyed when you were when you came on my show that time. Oh man. But yeah, so let's go. Where I'm at here. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the guy that I worked with an incel. He was a great guy. Wonderful guy. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I met this chick and she said she hadn't had sex in a year and a half and planning on have sex again until she's married. Would you continue dating a chick in that situation? I was just trying to get his opinion on it. Would you continue dating a chick in that situation if you knew it was going to be, no sex until, y'all got married? Because I knew he was somebody who wanted to be married. So I was like, but would you continue dating her? And he was like, and his response was, it tripped me out. He was like, I basically prefaced it by saying, but y'all probably won't get to the point to where y'all walking down that aisle into another two years. And then his response was, well, I haven't had sex in 2.5 years, so what's another 2 years? I was like, damn. But I'm bringing him up just to point out. The simple fact that this was a kind, loving, caring, peaceful guy who was by definition an incel, but he didn't have the ideology. So when we're talking about that 1 out of 3, I don't suspect that we're talking about 1 out of 3 ticking time bombs, but I think en masse. Oh wow, okay. He's going on 3 years. Well, since you're going on 3 years without getting some ass, Jackie Jack just hit the wall and just lowered her standard, so give her a call. All right. I'm sorry, Jackie. That was my last joke for like the next 10 minutes. That was my last joke for the next 10 minutes. But all right. And okay, I like what Rod said right there. He says, "Shout out to you for having discipline." But that's the catch-22 when we talking about incels. Are we talking about somebody who has discipline? Is he exercising dick discipline until he meets the one? Or is he ready to hop on the next thing, willing to give it up to him? You don't know that. That's the thing with being an incel. You never know. You don't know categorically where he at. You know, like Rod, if you told me, because I've talked to you and you're a cool brother, you're a smooth brother. I know you can get on with the women. But if you told me, hey, like, yeah, BR, man, I haven't had sex in the last year, I'm just gonna be like, okay, Rod is focused. He working, he's stacking his money, he leaving these chicks alone. I would believe that you made a decision to step away from the bullshit. That's what I would believe with you. But everybody can't say that, Everybody didn't go their own way. They got sent their own way, I'm sorry, Jackie. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. All right. Black Wolf Inc. in the building. He says the red pill expands yet again. Yes, it does. Yeah, like they spitting some shit that we talk about hard and heavy in this space. They definitely are. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. Black Wolf Inc. sent me this. Somebody else sent it to me too, but I don't remember who else sent it to me. I think I may have just stumbled upon it myself, but Black Wolf sent it to me. So I'm gonna give Black Wolf credit and give Black Wolf credit for finding me some good content. I'll give Black Wolf the credit.
And then what's up and send a picture of your penis. Like that's gonna work.
Sometimes. So you ask
hashtag say no to the dick pics unless they request. But even then, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, I just no dick pics. No dick pics. That's where I'm at. No dick pics.
About the phone. Simply put, it's a disaster. Whenever technology comes into an industry, it consolidates it. Mating has been consolidated in the worst way. 50 men on Tinder, 50 women. 46 of the women show all of their attention to just 4 men, leaving 46 men pursuing just 4 women. If mating was a country, it would be more unequal than Venezuela. We have huge mating inequality. And here's the problem.
Tell me he hasn't been listening to this space. Tell me he hasn't been listening to this space. Tell me the things that we've been talking about here isn't reaching the ears and thoughts and minds and inception in people with the perspective that a lot of people in this space have. And somebody could try to poo-poo that and say, oh, well, that's just the dating apps. But most people, the majority of the world is changing to the point to where I saw a study. I wish I had it with me. That's showing where the majority of people meet their spouse in online. Yeah, online. If I'm not mistaken, that was winning. The second one was at work. I think it was they either meet online or they meet at work. Shout out to all the Me Too chicks. Yeah, charging dudes up with Me Too while simultaneously meeting your life partner there. Did y'all get Me Too'd by your future husband? Okay, all right. Anyway, but yeah, very high percentage of people meet at work, but I think the largest percentage they meet online. So you can't poo-poo it. And he basically laid out what we talk about with the 80-20 rule. And one, by the way, something that I think we always get wrong with that, it's not about 80% of them, like only 20% are actually having sex or only 20% are reproducing. It's really, he explained it properly, how it's about attention and desire. Like that's what they desire, and that's what they go after. And that does have an effect that results in 1 out of 3 men under the age of 30 not having no sex in the last year. But it has more to do with female wants. It has more to do with female wants, and you can see it broken down. And a lot of people have broken that down. Somebody, I think in a White Manosphere did a whole video breaking down the discrepancy, how it would be like the most inequitable country. If the dating market was a country, it'll be it'll have the same ratios of some of the most the most unfair, and I don't like the word unfair, that's why I'm fumbling over my words, but some of the most unfair countries out there. But yeah, so let's get back into it. But they're saying a lot of things that we've been talking about in this space for a minute.
When people don't get together and there's no pheromones and there's no vibe, women, and we don't like to say this on the left, primarily try and make very quick assumptions about this individual's ability to garner resources in the future. So what you have is this concentration of interest, and you're ending up with Porsche polygamy, where 10% of the men get 90% of the attention, which does not lead to good behavior or form long-term relationships.
Remember when I read that article when they were talking about how the men were lonely in the dating market, but the women were not? And I said the only way that the men can be lonely and the women not be lonely is if they're sharing dicks. That's essentially what he said right there. He didn't put it the way that I put it. He said, I forgot exactly how what he said, but he basically said it's pseudo polygamy out there. He basically said it's pseudo polygamy, and that's very accurate. It's essentially pseudo polygamy. I called it sharing dicks, but so keep in mind, going back to the beginning, when they talked about women, 60-40 when it comes to college graduation. 60-40 when it comes to college graduation, and women with degrees don't want to marry men without degrees, and the women clapped and cheered. Woo! Just keep in mind, they're clapping and cheering. They're clapping and cheering the sharing of dicks. Like that's where they're at. But then they'll turn around and they'll blame men for all the ills and all the problems. But they're getting everything that they want, and they're seeing the outcomes of what they want. And the outcomes are outcomes that really don't benefit them later in life. But when they're younger, I'll say from 20 to 35 or maybe even 40, because you could be, if you're making your own money and you're single and you're getting some dick and you're okay with just getting some dick, then yeah, okay, all right, she's happy, but eventually they're gonna want kids. Eventually they're gonna drop down and get the eagle on. Shout out to the previous stream. Eventually they're gonna catch a flight, get knocked up eventually, and then we know the statistical outcomes when they raise kids by themselves, which means it's going to be further perpetuating the same problem. Like that is an unavoidable consequence of the second wave of feminism and all of that. And those consequences are staring them right in the face, but they're clapping and cheering because they got their single, their independence, and some of them get degrees. If they can't get degrees, they can get an I job and they can share some dicks. And worse from the worst, they could fall on the social safety nets. That's victory for them. Victory for them is if they can just sustain without having to depend on a man. Just sustain it. It don't matter if the society crumbles, if the world burns down and society is burning to the ground in the background behind you, but you've sustained. Everything is going wrong. Everything is going wrong. It's like you're in a burning building, but it's just saying, "Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine." It's like somebody in their house where the house is on fire. But they're running the vacuum. They just everything's cool. Everything's cool. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me.
E-commerce was disastrous for retail. Social media was disastrous for everybody. Online dating is disastrous for mating and for men. It's terrible.
I get at the root cause. Why are men in such crisis? I mean,
all right. Good stuff from Bill Maher. Good stuff from Bill Maher. Definitely Bill Maher's on point. If you're real strong with your conservatism, you're not going to like some of the things he said. There's some really good discussions he's had with the discussions between him and Ben Shapiro are some of the best discussions ever. I highly recommend people look those up. But Bill Maher is on point. He's on the left on a lot of stuff, and a lot of you won't like that. But when the left get loony, he does call it out. So shout out to Bill Maher. But Freeman's Journal in the building says, I think this will sort itself out. Public sector crash plus infrastructure rebuild plus men voting GOP means the scales will tip. Which means the scales will tip towards men, no matter what. It will have to eventually. It will have to eventually. I understand what you're saying. Eventually, it will get there. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Eventually, it will get to exactly what it is that you're saying. Eventually, it will get to exactly what it is that you're saying. I do personally believe that as well, but it will take the time. It will take the time. Oh shit, I missed that one. Oh, thank you, Itman, for pulling that up. I didn't know that I missed that one. I didn't even know that happened. Thank you. That's what you're here for. That's what you're here for. Doing your job. Deadly Raver in the building says, "What up, Bernard?" So the mainstream can no longer ignore the manosphere, eh? They would have to acknowledge it sooner or later, especially since they were one of the main reasons that it happened. Very, very fair point right there. Very, very fair point right there. Agree 100%. Agree 100%. It's like the things that they're talking about. Hey, chill, Rod. Nah, come on. Hey, Rod, I appreciate the super chat, but man, like, you know, I believe in quiet separation. So I don't just, okay, sometimes I do randomly take shots, but I ain't even trying to do that. Shout out to Rod God. There's somebody put an SBE ninjas on suicide watch, but man, cut it out. But I do appreciate the super chat. Where is that Deadly Raver one? But he says, "What up, Bernard?" So the mainstream can no longer ignore the manosphere. I mean, that's accurate, but like look at everything that they broke down. Okay, and this is an important point right here. The mainstream media have been trying to wrap their mind around why are all these why is damn, I almost called him Golden Tate. That's a football player. Andrew Tate. Did I get his name? How am I botching his name? Come on. But I confuse him with a football player. But they're trying to they're scratching their head trying to figure out why is someone like Andrew Tate, why is that resonating with so many men? Hell, why did Kevin Samuels blow up and resonate with so many people? But right now, looking at Andrew Tate, they are trying to figure. They're scratching their heads. A lot of liberals and feminists scratching their head trying to figure out how is he resonating with so many people. The fact of the matter is, everything that was laid out in that Bill Maher clip, shows exactly why. Like, men, a lot of men are lacking a voice. They're lacking a perspective, a proper way to process things. A lot of men, until they stumble into the manosphere, until they stumble into content like this or similar to this, they don't actually know how to process what they're experiencing. They don't. A lot of them don't, especially the younger ones. So it's like the same people that will scratch their head trying to figure out what's going on. Why is Andrew Tate trending all over social media? They'll try to figure that out, but then that same mainstream will look at everything that was pointed out on Bill Maher, everything that be getting pointed out in channels like mine, channels, in the manosphere. I'll just say in the manosphere. But I'm loosely saying that because there's so many channels not even associated with the manosphere in a whole nother algorithm that are talking about the same things. So you almost just can't even call it manosphere at this point. But all the things that are talked about in the manosphere, the things that they push back on, the things that they disagree with, though, all those things that we say that they'll consider that a good thing. 60% of women, 60% of college graduates, women. That's great. 7% of valedictorians, women. That's great. All everything, the educational system, make catering it more to women and essentially neglecting the boys to some degree, or not acknowledging that boys are different. They learn different. They're more energetic, got more testosterone. You can't just trade, we just going to give them, medication or suspend them. It's like that, like that's happening. And those policies getting put in place, and they think that all of that is a good thing. They think that all of that is a good thing. But now they're like, but they're scratching their head trying to figure out Andrew Tate and why so many boys latch on to his message. Why so many, not just boys. I'm sorry, so many boys, so many grown ass men latch on to his take and his perspective on things, because that's the mainstream. That's the, I guess, the red pill version of the mainstream voice. He's in that mainstream. He's been on Fox News. They can't ignore what he's doing. He's trending that much. They can't ignore it. They can't ignore it. They can't ignore it, but they scratch their head trying to figure it out. They scratch their head trying to figure that out. But the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. And while I wait for people to come on up, somebody sent me, okay, what do I want to go with? This is a toss up. This is a toss. Okay. I'll do this because I know y'all seen it. I know y'all seen this. A lot of people covered this. I know y'all saw this chick. I'm already laughing. Let me take my branding down. I'm transitioning. Oh shit, I can't say that. By transitioning, I meant bringing up a different video. Okay. All right. Gotta be careful how you use your words nowadays. So
this guy has made a show of going on a date with a woman from every state. And let me just show you why he's getting a lot of hate. I think it's fair to say that my guy has a type, but here's what really makes me mad. This is the girl he went on a date with from Hawaii. Like, sir, what you not finna do? You not finna play us, sir. Then this is the girl he went on a date with from New Mexico, who is actually, if you look on her Instagram, from Long Island. So, sir, if you have a type, you didn't even have to go across 50 states for that. Like, you really just dated the same girl in every single state. Like, where is the seasoning? Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments, because I'm feeling like this was unnecessary.
So, you mean to tell me that a white guy likes white women and he gets with white women, and that's somehow a problem to her? That's somehow a problem to her. Like, and I'm not even yeah, he was winning in every state. I mean, he might have a popular social media. he may have a popular social media. I know it's some YouTubers with popular social medias who could pull off stuff like that, but yeah, that's, to just go state to state winning. Like, if he got this done in less than 100 days, like, goddamn, like that, like damn. Just the logistics of it. So I wonder, yeah, it does raise questions like how long did he do this? How long did he do this? Like, I'm just trying to figure that out, because he, I didn't see. I mean, it probably was a 7 at the lowest. I saw all 7s and 9s from every state. Like, goddamn. Like, goddamn. But Mr. Trouble in the Building says, I thought black women are loyal to black men, envy the attention of an average white man. Yeah. Yeah. Oh shit. BPJ. I haven't spoke to you in a minute. This should be interesting. I see BPJ just popped up in the back. And I'm sure you want to talk about the last topic. So yeah, I'll bring you up. I'll bring you up and we'll discuss that. But hold on real quick before we'll do a quick mic check on you. Are you here?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you good. Okay, cool. Yeah, because you don't got no avatar, so I'm probably shouldn't have brought you up. And who knows? Okay, that is okay. That's actually okay. It's actually you. Okay. Just let me wrap up my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll go on.
Yeah. It blows me away, and some of y'all are calling it out in the chat that they're on some, on one hand, they're the most loyal. But they can come on there and cry and whine and complain that a white put it like this: if it was a black man who did that, if a black man did that and it was 50 white women, I can understand her point. But the level of just patheticness and just level of just unself-aware embarrassment that she brings on herself, complaining about a white guy liking white women and doing a 50 city dating tour for his social media or whatever the hell. Why ain't no black women on there? Like that's the peak, that's the epitome of just absolute 100% embarrassment to do that. And I'll cut it short because I am interested to hear what you got to say on this one, because not on this topic, because I've taken you coming up on the previous topic what was discussed on Bill Maher's show, because I'm sure you would say that there was a lot of black pills being being tossed around out there. So go ahead, man. Go ahead. What you got on? Well, one, welcome back, and what you got on that on that discussion?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, thanks for having me. No, I because I read your title, about the red pill going mainstream, and while I think that it already kind of has began to go mainstream, but I think quickly coming behind that is the black pill going mainstream, and I think that a lot of the talking points that they said on that Bill Maher segment, in regards to Tinder, in regards to the majority of women going after the same type of men, and how ultimately down the line this is an unsustainable society model. These are all, for the moment, I mean, you could say doomer, which is associated with black pill, and I'm not super familiar with that, so don't ask me about that philosophy.
I'm not. But I don't even got bandwidth for a whole nother category of this.
Yeah,
we just gonna go with black pill.
You're cool, but the point being is just that a lot of in the black pill spaces, they were talking a lot about stuff like this for a long time, and I think that now you are starting to finally see the cream kind of rise to the top in regards to a lot of, and I said this in the chat. Right now, it's 1 in 3 men haven't had sex in months to a year. I think that in a couple years, that number would go up to about half of men, where half of men will be incel, while the other half of men probably struggle in the top kind of 5 to 10% of the ones kind of having a lot of the access. And I think
hold on real quick. In fairness to exactly what it said, it was like it said men under the age of 30. So I think it does hold true. We don't got the exact numbers on that, but I think, once you get over 30, maybe things statistically change, but the study did say under 30, 1 out of 3 under 30 no sex in the last year. So just to make sure we're getting it 100% right on what exactly
right. No, that I can understand, but I don't think that as time progresses, I don't think that things bode well for men over 30 or over 40 as well. I think that is going to be, because I'm gonna tell you something, women who are over 30 and over 40, they got Tinder, they got dating apps as well, and hypergamy is still going to come into play there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was I was talking to somebody about this. Like the over 30 crowd on Tinder, the women, like I was able to make some shit some shit happen on there, but they're on there tough. But and I had a lot of them. I mean, it was more than a couple of them probably about 5 of them that I actually talked to about it. And they said the amount of options they got, and some of them was just all right, but it was some that was real nice looking, but a lot of them was just all right, like average, okay looking women. If they said that if they actually try to respond to everybody and have a conversation with everybody who's trying to have a conversation with them on there, they said that they'll be that would basically be their full-time job, maintaining those conversations. So it's like that's what it's like for women on there, and then for guys it's like, oh shoot, I got,
it's like you're trying to it's terrible for the average dude. And I've always said this, and there's a couple of things, because like I said, you mentioned a red pill in the red pill is in the title, but I think there's a lot of this is black pill, more black pill than red, because I'm gonna tell you something. I mean, listen to what you just said. So if that's the case, right, where any woman, doesn't matter if she's 40, if she's 35, 40, 50, etc., can still have far more options than the average man. Does the wall in that case truly exist? I think that the wall, ever since social media has been, not social media, dating apps and social media, I think that the concept of the wall, hell, I'm gonna be honest, I think the wall more so applies to men nowadays than applies to women, because a man can lose his hair and his options will go from will literally be split in half or whatever. Like men, I'm not, and that's like one aspect of it, but
not if you shave it all bald. If he getting his George Jefferson on, then yeah, he's out the game.
Right.
But if you shave it all off, he's still in the game.
Right, but I'm saying, but between, so I mean, I know that's just one aspect of it, but a woman shaves her head, she still has a lot of options. A man shaves his head, his options could literally get cut in half depending upon that guy, because you can see on, and again, they do videos on this. You look at a guy, I can't like think of an actor's name, but see him with hair versus him without hair, and it's a 9-day difference. But ultimately, I mean, look, I think that this is a problem that the red pill and the black pill, but especially the black pill, have been talking about the sexlessness of men, how violence is going to be on a rise, and it's going to come to a point where this is going to be something where it's going to have to be addressed. And I've said this before in some way, shape, or form. So all this stuff, all like it going mainstream, the Andrew Tate coming now, I mean, he's banned on everything. This is not surprising for me. This is not surprising whatsoever.
I don't know. I ain't cutting his mic because he said the wall don't necessarily apply to women. It applies more to men. We walking down that rabbit hole. We walking right into that dark room today, because I think it's worth mentioning. Like, if you're not talking about the wall in terms of biological, fertility.
No, I'm not talking about the biological.
If you're just talking about just market value out on the dating market, their market value decreases. It's certain type of men that they can't really get access to, or definitely can't get serious access to. But I think you do make a good point that an average looking woman could be 40 and she can get on Tinder and she can get swiping. She can get to swiping, and she's going to get enough suitors. It may not be her dream guy, but she's going to have something. But
she will have something. And not only
you take that same average at best man who's 40, and he's on there. I'm talking about the average looking, he make average money, he's just an average dude. He's on there. He's feeling that sting of being average in a way that she isn't. She'll feel that sting of being average from, meaning she can't get married to the man she wants to get married to. But that man feels that sting, and I literally can't get no action from nobody in no context. he may feel it that way. So you make a good point that, I don't like to call it the wall when we're talking about men, but you do make a good point how men feel that sting, they feel that pinch stronger. I'll say that. So you make a good point.
And I said this before, there's no such thing in 2022 as an undesirable woman. There's no such thing. So if 100% of the women, there's no undesirable woman, doesn't matter if she's 400, 500 pounds, there'll still be plenty of guys who want her, but yet only around maybe 35% or so of men are quote unquote desirable. Most men are not desirable by women. Most men are not, but 100% of women are. So you know.
Right. Real quick, Black Sand in the building. He says, "Divester mad Brad ain't checking for her." Yeah, we may jump back on that story at a later date or maybe later in the show. But Manosphere Maniac in the building says, "I think that women of the future will have to compete with men leaving the country to mate. Men choosing to deal with robot women." Okay, hold on. I read that wrong. Hold on. Let me. Okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure I'm properly hydrated. Okay, all right, come back. Okay. I think he says, I think that women of the future will have to compete with men leaving the country to mate. Men choosing to deal with robot women, trans women, or even genetically engineered women. What do you think? I think you gay as fuck. No, just playing. What the hell do you mean dealing with robot women? Okay, if you're talking about sex dolls, okay, all right. Trans women? Are you saying that the situation between men and women is so bad that men are going to consider trans women? I'm misinterpreting that, right?
This isn't complete. He's not completely out of bounds here. So robot women. Okay,
I get that. Robot women. He talking about sex dolls. They're going to update the sex dolls. They're going to make it like the movie Artificial Intelligence and so many other movies where they can get up and walk around and drop it like it's hot and all that. Okay, cool. I get that. That's when that's a thing. When you could have a full blown hot ass dime woman, a woman that's a robot woman that's a dime and indistinguishable from a biological woman, and you could turn her off with a remote. Yeah, I think that's gonna change the game. And she can get up, walk around, and make a sandwich. Yeah, that's it's gonna be really over after then. They're gonna have to make biological. They're gonna have to make artificial wombs just if they want to see children after once that happens. I get that part. What the fuck is he talking about? Trans the situation between men and women so crazy. They're gonna be talking about trans women. What the hell are you talking about? Like that's a blockable. That is a blockable offense. Now BPJ is about to try to save you, but that's a blockable offense.
Right. No, but he's not okay. But there are some men who are dating those. I call them T people. They are dating the T people. Hell, there's
some gay men. Hold on. You mean there's some gay men that are dating men who will present as a woman? Well,
I mean, so here's what. Let me tell you what I've seen, or at least what I've heard, and this is from other dating coaches. Let me not say no names, but there's one dating coach in particular who has bragged about dating a T person because they looked like a hot woman, and he's also teaching other men to go out there, talk to a whole bunch of women, and if they come across a T person, to hey, she looks like a hot chick to me, blah 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 blah.
Name the name. Who you talking about?
Talking about John Anthony Lifestyle, if you really want, because I don't really give a shit. But John Anthony Lifestyle, he has talked about taking down T people before, and this is not something that I'm just making up. I'm not even that type of person. You could just with a quick YouTube search, this is stuff you can find. And he's one of the quote unquote. I keep seeing ads of this guy telling men like, hey, I got this guy from who was on a wheelchair he bagged a 19-year-old, and this other guy who's 40 and he's lives with his mom, and he bagged a 20-year-old. And it's like, well, they very well, I mean, a T person, a quote unquote a transsexual woman, yes, those types of people aren't quote unquote hard to sleep with because they're T people. So they're
men.
No.
The majority of them don't have the surgery. They have dick and balls.
I don't even know what
you're talking about.
I don't know what's going on. The point I'm trying to make is that it is not, despite the violation, it is not something that is completely. Now, I'm not going to say that's a lot of men. No. Listen.
If somebody is messing with a trans woman, that means a biological male presenting as a woman. If somebody is doing that, they're gay. It's not because the dating market and the social dynamics between men and women have gotten so out of control that's what they've been relegated to. No. If you mess with somebody who is,
if you find out that they're that person, yeah,
I would mess with somebody. I just want to make it clear: if you mess with somebody who was born with nuts, and you know they're born with nuts, and you're messing with them, you're gay.
No,
That's
I'm in
where
agreement with you on that.
Okay.
I'm in agreement with you on that. It's like I said, bro, the dating the dating market
The
is
dating market don't get that bad. Like this ain't like we not about to be applying prison rules, even though I don't you can lock me up for the rest of my life. I'm not adhering
I
to
agree
prison
with you.
rules on that, but the dating market don't get that bad to where it's prison rules on the outside. All right, let me get to the super chats and bring a game changer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Listen, Bernard, I'm agreeing with you. I was just saying that it's that despite what your thoughts are about it, dudes are still doing it. So that's
gay dudes.
Gay dudes
are
okay,
doing
yeah,
it. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, Lance Brown in the building says, I thought the wall was primarily about reproduction. A lot of people got different definitions of the wall, but so yeah, if it's about reproduction, then yeah, there is an age range when you start hitting the wall, but a lot of times it's connected to your sexual market value and your looks declining and your and your overall, fertility. And
it's just this thing. Yeah, Bernard, it's just this thing where we keep saying like, oh, once she's 30, then her value declines and she's not gonna. It's like, no, like women who are 30, especially if they look halfway decent and get themselves a boob job or kind of like maintain, they're still good to go. And I was trying to tell Obsidian on the chat, I'm like, yo, these women, they're still chasing after the Chads and Tyrones into their 30s, into their mid 30s, hell, sometimes even into their 40s if they're able to do so. A lot of these women do not want to be married. They do not want to be saddled with a quote unquote beta male provider if they already have the provision already on lock. These women would rather travel. They would rather live with each other. They do not fuck with men like that. They only fuck with men based on whether, and I'm sure if you have money, cool. If they don't have it, but they primarily fuck with men who have the desired genetic traits. That is where we are right now, and only 10% of men have those traits have those traits in abundance, right? But anyway,
all right. Jab Crow Joe says there are a few articles that state there are an increasing number of men going to the other side. If you go to the other side, you are already gay. The only thing that happened is that the society made it more welcoming and comfortable for you to do it. The society took away the social shame and criticism of you doing it. But so it's not market pressures that are making you do it. You are already that. And society basically just patted you on the head and patted you on the back and said, it's okay, just be yourself. So he just went on and became himself, that he just being his happy, free, gay self. And that, hey, do your thing, but don't try to make it seem like, like it's some fluid thing that's going on that, or market pressures can cause somebody to like man booty. Like that's nasty. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. Okay, Java Joe says there are no undesirable women. Bernard, you got to push back on that. I know. Okay.
How can you?
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
I got you. I got you on that one because we kind of. I understand where you were coming from. We talk about undesirable women all the time on this show, but even when we talk about those undesirable women, and Game Changer may disagree with me on this one, they can get some action from somewhere. Like they can flat out get some act. They can go on Tinder and get some action. Like they may not, hold on, they may not be desirable, but they for enough men, they meet the threshold of fuckable. So there's that. But real quick, I'm gonna read one more super chat, then I'm gonna throw it to you, GC. Torrell Boxley in the building says, yes, I was in Rio and I met a beautiful Brazilian woman who lost her husband to a trans woman. This was in November 2015. Okay, her husband was gay. All right, I don't think that trans woman just presented womanness so good that he said, hey, it's no different. No, he had a thing for lady boys from the start. That is my position. That is where I'm at, and that's what I believe. All right. Go ahead, GC, you got it.
Yeah, so I do agree with the brother. What's going on is that the ugly bitches are benefiting from the sexual scarcity that's going on in today's marketplace. I said time and time again to you privately that in a hookup culture, ugly bitches are always going to win because men need an abundance of access in order to maintain a regular, healthy sexual life. Meaning that if a man in a hookup culture want to have sex each and every single day, he would have to convince 365 women a year to do so, which is a very difficult task if you only restrict yourself to attractive women. Therefore, an unattractive woman need only wait for a man to lower his standards. Definitely in that particular environment, which is what the world or what the West is slowly becoming, or has become, whatever you want to call it, continual hookup culture. Absolutely, her value sustains dramatically as a man's bar decreases. Hers can increase because she is more sexually patient than men. However, for relationships and things like that, they still find themselves, which is why average at best is still single. They find that very difficult to secure. It's the whole good enough to bed and good enough to wed thing. A man's sexual bar, especially in modern society, is a lot lower than his. Hold on, right quick. Let me just take care of something. His sexual bar is a lot lower than his bar for relationships.
Yeah, yeah. So we agreement on that to the point of the the desirable woman. You make a good point on the notion that hookup culture, even though it seems like it helps men, like at face value, it seemed like men would celebrate, like, man, you don't got to be in a relationship to have sex with a woman. This shit is awesome. But overall, it helps women. It helps women more.
Well, it does. I mean, the hookup culture creates this. I think the brother was saying like 10% environment that works for women. They could just wait their turn for that 10% as long as they're not seeking relationship. Now, in a relationship culture, that doesn't really fly because that 10% is going to be locked up because they can be locked up. So, and then, the other women are going to, they can wait their turn all they want to. Chances are they're not going to get a turn. Even if he cheats, he's not still out looking for 365 different pussies a year. So that's, they don't really thrive in that type of culture, which is why, they're thriving here because, especially in places like Tinder where people are going to hook up.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I'm going to go right back to you, BPJ. But hold on, the thing is, the guy who is, hold on, what the hell? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the guy who's not getting on in hookup culture, he will end up, if he want to get a girl and some consistent sex, he will end up marrying, one of those chicks that was getting it on in hookup culture. So the only thing is he's still marrying a chick just like he would, pre-hookup culture. But instead of him marrying her young while he's young, he's marrying her later when she's nowhere near as attractive, saggy titties, and a couple kids by a couple men. Like, so that's why that's why hookup culture does not benefit men on whole. It just benefits some men. It benefits some men, but overall, for the majority of men, that 1-to-1 shit is like even though that's boring, but I think there's at least 50% of men who would be more beneficial, and that number may be higher, but at least 50% of men who may be more beneficial in a 1-to-1 arranged situation. So it's an off-putting unorthodox thought to think that that's the case, but I think it just may be the reality. They'll end up just being with one woman but getting a better product versus just ending up being with one woman and getting a shitty product. There.
Yep, that's exactly. I just want to say real quick. Go ahead, Game Changers. If you
okay, yeah. But no, it's right. It's like it's quantity versus quantity. I mean, is it better to have 10 pennies or a quarter? It's that simple. It seems like it seems like you're doing better, but in the long term, because it doesn't start out that way. And this is what I noticed, being old enough in hookup culture, it doesn't really start off the way where it's like 90-10, maybe it's like it starts off like the top 50% of men, and then the bar moves, and over decades it becomes 90-10, and maybe in another decade it'll be worse, but nevertheless, there is a point of decline. And you're right. And if you notice how, if you want to go by standards versus hookup culture, the ones who are less involved in hookup culture tend to have the highest standards. You don't hear the small hat people or God's chosen people saying stuff like player, play on. But you also don't see them with a bunch of fat ass bitches in Walmart.
Yeah, or Asian men.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they not out there heavy in hookup culture, but yeah, their standard
exactly,
is higher. They put themselves to the sword before they.
Yeah, but they wives all look like they can hit cartwheels and ninja flips and shit like that.
Right,
and white guys to a lesser extent. So the more you embrace hookup culture, the less the lower your standards are. You have to lower your standards if you want to date in hookup culture, and women are taking advantage of that. It's sad and unfortunate, but true. But the brother, you have something?
Yeah, go ahead, BP.
Yeah, I was going to say just a couple of things. Well, one, the first thing was that hookup culture and how it is today. Because I think you mentioned men having higher standards for relationships, and sure, it's higher, but it's not that much higher. Men have very, very low standards for relationships as well. You have men who are willing to date a woman with an OnlyFans, willing to date a woman who had a gangbang back in 2018. Like for the most part, men have it because the scarcity of sex, and because men have a very, very hard time just going on a date, getting a woman to text back, getting a second date. It's extremely hard for the average man. So if he comes across a relationship and that woman is below, it doesn't have relatively even a decent character, a lot of men are going to take it. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we mentioned that hookup culture doesn't benefit the majority of men. I would agree with you, especially today. However, there was a time before social media where the average man was able to benefit from hookup culture, because the average man was still relatively had a chance in more of a closed, localized marketplace. So if you're a dude who was a 6 out of 10 in your community, you would be able to get a woman who was a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10 in your community. But once social media came into play, and you are now competing with like Drake and all these men around the world and around the county, around the state, etc. Now the competition is a lot higher. It's a lot easier to be the Pac-Man champion in your hometown, but it's a lot harder to be the Pac-Man champion in the country or in the world. You know what I mean? So I think that hookup culture
definitely opened up the marketplace. But as I was saying, like as time passed, hookup culture, it wasn't always like this, and time passed and it became more and more like this. And yeah, you are right. I mean, I do know guys from this space that deal with women who are big with wig, fatted and tatted, like all kind of shit. So, these guys, you're right, their relationship standards is very low. It's lower than some people's mating standards. So you are definitely right. But I would say that those guys do not represent the majority. Those are the guys, especially if they're older, those are the guys who, even when hookup culture did benefit the average man, it didn't benefit them. So as a result, they have spent, about 22 years of adult life on semi-incel stuff, and then they will just take anything to secure a sexual source. And that's what men are really looking for, security of sexual sources. And yes, some of them are willing to compromise themselves into a relationship that is with a woman that is unsavory looking.
Now, I'm not even not just unsavory looking, but just unsavory in character, an unsavory past, an unsavory present. I think I would say I hear what you're saying. I think that is more so the majority now. I think that, and hell, I think it's flipped. I think that there was a point, and I'll ping it back to you, Bernard, but I think there was a point in time where women were the primary ones who wanted relationships, and men were the primary ones who wanted sex and all this other stuff. But I think that it's flipped. I think that now men are more thirsty for relationships and companionship, not just because that's what incels talk about. It's not just the sex, whereas women are more so about the hedonism, the traveling, the let me do me, hot girl summer, you know what I'm saying, get the bag and fuck Chad. They're more, I think it's a little bit more so flipped now, hence so all this turmoil.
Yeah, I've said it once. I said it again. Alpha Male Strategy said that he started being a dating coach. He was trying to just teach them the strategies, how to fuck these bitches asleep, and then in his words, he was like, and man, they don't even want to learn the strategies. You know, they want relationships. So he said 80% of his people, you know, he call them purple pill for wanting relationships. I don't even play around with the purple pill. I just, you know, but anyway, but he's basically saying 80% of them, they can just get one girl, they'll be happy with it. They ain't trying to learn all the strategies on how to have a plethora of women. They just want one. So, and I think a lot of dating coaches find that out once they, you know, really dig into it. That end up being the case. And Pablo came up damn near right on time, because I was about to read this super chat. It said, well, Captain Cisco, he says, there is no hookup culture in Colombia. I don't believe that. I mean, people are having sex in Colombia. Like, cut it out. Cut it out.
Yeah, I
But,
don't see that one either.
But go ahead, Pablo. You can respond to that one real quick. You're the resident expert, so you can respond to that one real quick, and then go ahead and speak on whatever you came up for.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to speak to this. Remember when you had the two Brazilian gentlemen on your show earlier last week?
Mm-hmm.
And when I pointed out to them the obesity rate in the United States among Black women, it was up there around 57%, close to 60%.
Yeah, 56. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And what did he say when I pointed that out to him, that his women were, that our women were so much more fatter than Brazilian women? He immediately directed us, why don't you go over there to those countries in the yellow with the least fat women? Why did he do that? Well, first, he did that because he didn't want.
Well, just for the record, those countries were African countries. He was saying,
yes,
yeah, just because you didn't say that. So just for the people that weren't watching, he was saying, well, why don't y'all, if that's y'all concern, why not go to the African countries that they have the least amount of obese women? Okay, go ahead.
And we are going there, by the way. Tanzania, Ethiopia, Kenya, for sure. He did that because he didn't want the competition from American men. It finally came out when I did that. And why did I do that? Because I knew Brazilian men hate and detest obesity. They would never accept what we accept here. And I knew once I pointed that out to him, his true colors would come out. Well, why am I saying all of that? I'm saying all of that to say, worldwide, in a worldwide competition, American men are not losers. Hardly ever. So when you read me that stat that 30% of men under a certain age had not had sex, my question to that would be 30% of men where? I assume that is here in the United States.
Yeah, in the U.S. I assume that's U.S. too. Hell, right. I Google it right now while you're talking, but I'm pretty confident that that's U.S.
So to that I say, change your location, you can change your results. Because American men are the wealthiest men on the planet. I'm here to let you know, you're not going to be you change your Tinder location from Cleveland to the Philippines, you're going to get different results.
BPJ, what do you think about what Pablo is saying right there? Because I mean, you from the black pill community, which is closely associated with the incel community, and Pablo is making a good point that 1 out of 3 disappears if they change their location. Do y'all ever talk about that? You know?
Oh yeah, no, they talk about that. It's called geomaxing. And depending upon that's what they call it. It's called geomaxing. Yeah, there's geomaxing, height maxing. There's no, listen, there's thug maxing. There's all types of shit. Money maxing. That's what they call it. I didn't come up with these terms, Bernard.
I know. I be hearing those terms every now and then, and it'd be funny as hell.
Let me give you an example. When you say height maxing, let me give you an example. The average American man if he goes to an Asian country, goes to the Philippines or Thailand or somewhere like that, all of a sudden, if you're 5'8", guess what? You're pretty tall over there. Even though height in those countries is not, it's not a choosing, it's not high on the choosing level of Asian women for men. That's not a criteria that they set as a high desirability for a man to quote unquote be tall. Why? Because there's just not much of it. You know
Okay, so yeah. So anyway, so BPJ and the black pill, and I don't want to just call everybody who's claiming to be black pill incel, because I understand there's different sectors of it and different manifestations of it. But I think
Absolutely.
the area, the part of it that you're associated with is the one that's closely associated with the incels. So over there, would you say that it's, serious talk about getting a passport, getting the hell out of here?
So a lot of them, a lot of them talk about it and say, hey, and there's a lot of young men who, depending upon their field, I mean, they're talking about leaving the West. So depending upon where they are in their field, they want to, get a trade or something like that. Beard maxing is a thing. Saving their money, getting their passport, and kind of figure it out. Yeah, like a lot. But you gotta understand, Bernard, like a lot here. Look, the black pill space is actually more so full of younger men than men who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. It's mostly young men in their early 20s to even a lot of times late teens. A lot of late teens are black pill too, but let's not get into all that. But so these are men who are trying to save up, trying to, first of all, figure out their lot in life career wise and all this other stuff, but to save up money to get to a point where they can leave the country and to experience those things. So yeah, so to answer your question, absolutely, a lot of these young men in the black pill space are talking about traveling. Absolutely.
Looks like the passport bro's gonna win again.
Yeah, I was curious because everybody be talking about how they got such a defeatist mentality, and it's something to that. It is some truth in that, but I think that would have been the true litmus test of whether or not they're truly on some Debbie Downer defeatist shit. If they even had objection to that, then I would be like, okay, I see what's going on with them. So that is interesting and good to hear. But anyway, and the reason I say that's interesting and good to hear, because listen, if somebody is having problems in this market, they wave maxing. I don't know how my wave's looking today, but I'm somewhat of a wave maxer. I think they're not quite all the way there today. But yeah, I need to get my beard lined up so I can do a better job at beard maxing. I gotta, beard maxing and wave maxing is my thing. But
yeah,
but all right,
you see us catching on, you get what it means. It's because it's true. No, but people are saying that Chad muscle maxing, tattoo maxing. Well, tattoo maxing is more so about thug maxing. So if you're a black man, for example, a lot of one piece of advice I give to young black men who consider themselves incel are to potentially thug max. Yes, get yourself a sleeve tattoo. You know what I'm saying? Don't join a gang, but definitely fit that aesthetic. And these are things that a lot of men talk about. It's like, as a black man, as a young black man, there are certain aesthetics that you need to hit that the white boy doesn't have to hit. The white boy doesn't have to have tattoos. He doesn't have to have a beard that connects. He doesn't have to have a fresh lineup, but you do. You got to have all those things. So absolutely.
I don't think that thugs are necessarily in that top 10% that you're referring to. I know that there probably was a time when they were, and some of them pretend like they are, but generally speaking, no. That would be the foolish thing that a young black man would do.
No, I didn't say anything about top 10%. I'm saying in order to
top 10% is the only one getting laid, and and they're not in it, then they would just be.
No, they're not the. So they're not the only ones.
Essentially, what's going to happen is you're going to have a nerd with thug tattoos, more likely to get shot by cops, and he's still an incel.
No. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that it's something that they all should do. But let me ask you this, game changer.
Isn't that exactly what you just said?
No, so you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say anything about top 10%, and it's not the only the top 10% getting laid, but they're getting the vast majority. Let me ask you this, game changer. If you have your average looking 5 foot, let's just say 5'9" black dude who's a regular looking black dude, let's say we clone him. One version of him has tattoos, has the sleeve tattoos. Let's just say sleeve tattoos, like arm tattoos. The other version of him doesn't have slave tattoos. Which version of him is more likely to get laid?
That I don't know. However, I will
Hey,
say
Bernard.
I will say this. I will say this. Do you see the guys who are otherwise unhandsome, right? Getting laid because they have sleeve tattoos?
Okay, let me jump in. Let me jump in. I look at it
Come
like
on
this.
now.
Hold on, wait. Okay, but I think both of y'all are right for different reasons. I think Game Changer is right in pointing out that thug dudes ain't getting on as much as they would like. I think Game Changer said a while back, even amongst more square dudes or more educated dudes or just more casual dressing, conservative button-up shirt wearing dudes, even among hood dudes, they're select and non-select all within there, and it ranges. So just being a hood dude or street nigga just don't automatically get you some
No,
ass.
no one is saying that.
I know. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Game Changer is responding to, and he's right about that. But I think what you're saying, and I think what Freedman's Journal, come back. I'm sorry we didn't get you in the conversation, but come back if you're still listening. Freedman's Journal. But I think what BPJ is saying is accurate in this sense, that where if you just got just a regular 5'9" average looking dude, and he has no tattoos, and then you take that guy and you clone him, he look exactly the same, and then he got sleeve tattoos all the way up here. That guy at least has he's wearing personality on his sleeves to the point to where there's a market for that. So he's done something to make himself attractive to women who like women of a particular market that like guys that got sleeve tattoos. Some chicks are into that. I have no tattoos.
No,
at all.
I agree.
But the chicks who are into long sleeve tattoos coming all the way up, and then you wear a cutoff t-shirt or a wife beater, and the tattoos just go around everywhere that the wife beater ain't showing, or just a tank, or everywhere where the tank top ain't showing. There's a market for that. So if you clone those two dudes and one dude do that and one dude don't, he will at least appeal to a certain market.
Okay, I'll say this. There's a market for just about everything. However, you can always go by how people with that particular personality set, where their bar is. Now, from what I understand, those guys' bar is pretty effing low. It's way lower than the small hat people. It's way lower than the Oriental people. It's way lower than the white people, and it's way lower than the black dudes who don't do shit like that. The market, the bar for those guys, they are the ones who are most willing to marry, tar-colored Roseanne. They are the most ones who are willing to just lower their standards. They say stuff like pussy is pussy, and that is because the market is not that kind to them either. If you are so average that you feel the need to do something like that, those tattoos are not going to help you. She'll just get with a bigger dude or taller dude with tattoos, a more jawlineier dude with tattoos.
I hear what you're saying.
Let's look at this particular example, right? Jeremy Meeks. Now, before he actually, Jeremy Meeks, for those who don't know, is it's a dude from Stockton, California. Prison Bay is what he's also known as. Basically, he's a guy who was breaking into homes, had tattoos on his necks and stuff like that. And he is a jawline dude, and he is a handsome dude, obviously. And because of that, he became very popular amongst the ladies because of his prison photo. Now, the problem with that is, before that, even here in California, he was with a fat, ugly white bitch. That was his wife.
He was?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really, and those tattoos didn't help him. Hell, even his looks didn't help him. Their standards are in the gutter, in the shitter, and getting more tattoos. Now imagine if he was average. Would he be with a fatter, uglier white bitch? Like, I don't see it. I don't see that benefit.
So you're putting a whole bunch of, okay, so here's what you're doing. You're taking the very simple thing that I said, and you're putting a whole bunch of stuff on it that wasn't even referred to earlier. You're talking about how these men's standards are in the toilet. I'm not even disagreeing with you on that, but here's ultimately what the core of it is. The core of it is that if you are an average looking man and you're looking to not be an incel no more, the version of you with tattoos has a higher percentage of scoring than the version of you who doesn't. That's the bottom line, point blank, period.
If you so average, those tattoos are not going to help you. That's my bottom line.
Again, it's about upping the percentages, and you cannot deny this, sir. You can't.
Well, I think y'all are arguing about nothing. I mean, it's like saying, I mean, I get what BPJ is saying. He's saying if you got one average ass dude and you clone him, and you got another average ass dude, and one of them go to the barbershop and get a fresh lineup every week, then yes, the fresh lineup dude, percentages will be higher. You know, sleeve tattoos to some women is just like a fresh lineup. It's like so yeah, like I mean, we can say that and move on. Like Game Changer, you are legitimately calling out a separate point that's sort of related to what he's saying, and that's the fact that a lot of these dudes be fronting like they getting on, but really they talking about they pimp player max and y'all ain't got y'all, and I got bitches and y'all don't, but really they just fucking undesirable women that you wouldn't fuck anyway. I understand that those guys do need to be called out from time to time, but this ain't really. I don't think that's where BPJ is exactly taking it.
You're better off joining a fraternity, and let's just go there.
Agreed. How can you do that if you can't get into one? Like you're saying stuff that's stupid at this point. You're better off getting into the NBA or getting on the D1 team. It's like, well, fuck, you gotta be able to get in it. Tattoos, there's no one stopping you from getting that.
Well, you got to be able to get into a game.
Bernard, if you want to move on, again, if he wants to argue for no reason, if you want to move on, that's fine.
So nevertheless, there are a lot of things you can do besides that. Though
we agree. I think everybody agrees with that.
Though it may increase your percentages slightly, it's not going to be enough to really cause any significant change in your love life. So I would not recommend a person make a permanent change for an insignificant jump in your love life. That's just me.
And I think BPJ agrees with that too. Were you advocating for dudes to go get sleeve tattoos?
Yes.
It's not about me. Oh, you talking about me? Wait, was he asking you or me?
I'm asking you, BBJ. That what you were advocating for? If you're not getting on with the ladies, this is what you got to do.
I am saying
go and get full Allen Iverson sleeves tattoos all the way up. Are you saying go do that?
No, here's what I'm. If they want to do that, if that's what they're willing to do, fine. Because here's what I am saying, that if you do that, you will increase your percentages of scoring. Yes, you just will.
Yeah.
I'm talking as a person who doesn't have tattoos. I don't have tattoos myself, but I'm just saying it is what it is.
I think it will increase it, but and that's where I'm like, yeah, I can agree to agree, because I think we all agree that there are probably other things that you can do that doesn't involve you doing something that's completely diametrically opposed to your diametrically opposed to your current personality. So,
that's fine, but somebody said in the chat, it increases. Here's the thing: it's ultimately about increasing your sex appeal, and tattoos is a very straightforward way of doing that. Yes, you can get muscles. Yes, you can join the frat if you're able to get into the frat. But tattoos is a point blank, simple, direct way of doing that. Right. And most people with tattoos will tell you this. But go ahead.
All right. Fatty says, why Pablo lying? The Portugal, Europe. In Portugal, Europe, why should I be afraid of these dudes going to Brazil? Oh, he's saying he's in Portugal. I live in Portugal, Europe. Okay. Why should I be afraid of these dudes going to Brazil? Bernard said it best. Brazil was orange. Stop lying. Don't lump me in with what you said, saying I said it best, because you say crazy shit. But yeah, all right. I ain't even trying to rehash our previous argument. Fatty in the building says Pablo again. Fatty in the building again says Pablo brought up obesity, then gave us a map. I pointed out that if it's about weight, Africa has yellow countries while Brazil was orange, and he flipped the fuck out and said we were scared. You are a liar, sir. And right on cue, Pablo comes back up. And but before we even go there, Friedman's Journal in the building says 2 cultures: those that marry or don't. Men that like hoes want an 8 that wants to be a housewife. Women that like men that like hoes wonder why they are boring. Why they are being chosen. Yeah, my vision is like shaking right now today. I need glasses. He says make a deal, dummies. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Freeman's Journal. All right. Says Captain is on. Captain, he is spot on. My confidence spiked when I got my first tattoo. Yeah, I met you in person. You don't got a whole bunch of tattoos. But anyway, he says, I got my first tattoo and more girls feel comfortable talking to me than most dudes. All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate everybody. We almost got 500 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Moderators, if you will, the gentlemen that are on the panel. I know y'all got Game Changers link. Drop the link to Game Changers channel. For some of those who's not subscribed to Game Changer, drop it to Pablo's channel. And BPJ, I don't even know that you didn't even have a channel when I remember the last time I talked.
I used to have a channel. I don't want no channel.
Okay,
maybe sometime in the future, but now.
All right, yeah, but drop links in the chat. Drop links in the chat. But all right. So let's go ahead and go. Pablo, Fatty threw down a gauntlet and you came up.
Well,
Fatty, go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Okay, so Fatty, look. How many times do you think we've heard, why don't y'all go here and why don't y'all go there? It's because they want to control our movements and our sexuality. That's why. There's no other reason. There's no, oh, well, they're less fat over here. No, but they're more beautiful in Brazil. That's why we go to Brazil. And because we want to, that's why. So stop trying to throw us off the scent of your true motives.
So Pablo, it sounds like you're basically saying that even though it was technically true that the African countries of women were the smallest, the fact of the matter is the only reason he brings that up is he brings it up for disingenuous reasons. That's more or less what you're saying. It's more just a poke and prod at the fact that y'all are traveling and going to these countries.
Well, yeah, because guess what? They're still American women are still 2 to 3 times as fat as Brazilians. So we still get a better deal, sir. That's the point of it. Because we get a better deal. That's why. And listen, femininity. He was on about the whole red pill ideology and Brazil being introduced with femininity and all of that, with feminism and all of that. Well, here's a measure of how much feminism your country has. When the women begin to stop caring about their bodies and how they appear to men, that means they're on another level of feminism. And I'm sorry, Brazilian women still care about their appearance and their bodies. American Black women do not. That was my point. And if you think American Black women and Brazilian women are in any stratosphere close in indoctrination into feminism, that, sir, is a measurable quantification of how different and how far apart they really are in that regard. We have Lizzo, and you guys have samba and carnival. Nothing could be further apart in sex appeal and femininity.
Fatty, you said drop the link. I just dropped the link for you, Fatty. You can come on. You're always welcome. Whenever you see my link in the chat, you're always welcome. Don't you take the link, Fatty? But so yeah, and there he is. Take the link. Yeah, mute your YouTube. I just heard your YouTube say something in the back. So all right, let's keep this decent and limit the interruptions and the heckling somebody while they're talking and all of that shit. Let's keep it cool. But all right, hold on. Before I go to that, let me acknowledge Cole Steele in the building says, once you start talking to her, you will still take an L if your personality and charisma don't match the tattoos. Yeah, and that's why I think we all agree that if getting Allen Iverson sleeve tattoos goes against the natural flow of your personality, then goddamn it, don't do it. But I think BPJ is correct. If you clone a guy and give one of them tattoos all over his upper body, and then you clone in the other one don't have that, I think the guy with the tattoos will do better, because that's something that women like. They're not all, but there's a percentage of women that like tatted up dudes, so he may be able to get on with them. So his percentages will increase, but not a good idea. It's other things that increase your percentages too. So there's that. But all right. Let's go. Go ahead, Fatty. Your response to what Pablo just said.
Is good morning there? I think it's good morning there.
No,
How are you
it's
guys?
the afternoon. Good afternoon over here.
Good afternoon. It's kind of.
It's good morning here.
Hi guys, how are you? It's kind of
afternoon for me, morning for Game Changer, and who the hell knows where Pablo's at. But all right, let's go.
It's 7 p.m. here. So again, you let him move the goalpost because Pablo was saying the real reason he was scared is because he's afraid of us, because we are going there and we are going to steal the woman. Pablo, once again, if you are a good listener, I live in Portugal, Europe. Portugal, Europe. The only thing I said, I have no motive because you are not going to steal my woman. The community of Brazilian women, because Portugal colonized Brazil, it's very high here in Portugal. We have thousands and thousands of Brazilian women here. So when you talk about the quality of them, I have no incentive to lie to you. The only thing that I said, bro, was that you were using a map. And when you show the map, Bernard, can you share this, please? The map that I'm putting on the... And we weren't even talking about obesity, right? We were talking about just the quality of woman. And you came out with your own map and you said, oh, the Brazilian woman is this and that because she's more in shape and da-da-da-da-da. And I told you, bro, if you look at the map, why don't you go to Africa? Because if the problem was obesity, women in Africa are more healthy than the woman in Brazil.
Okay, Fatty.
So why are you mad? Am I lying?
Fatty, here's the issue. You were talking about feminism, right? You were saying, well, the women in Brazil are just as feminist as the women in the United States, correct?
Facts.
Wasn't that was your point, right?
Facts. That's exactly what I was saying. Facts.
Okay. So the reason I showed the obesity map is for this reason. When women begin to no longer care about their physical appearance and no longer care how men view them, that is a sign that they are deeply indoctrinated into feminist ideology. Accept me as I am. Somebody will like it. Lizzo. Those kinds of things. We have a famous music artist here in the United States, and she's 300 pounds. I'm sorry, that would never take hold in Brazil. Why? Because Brazilian women still care about their bodies and their physical appearance. They still care about how men look at them sexually. American Black women do not. Many of the men here on this panel who are American Black men can tell you, they will look at you with a straight face and tell you, we don't care, you're gonna like it, somebody will like it. I'm sorry, but Brazilian culture and Brazilian women do not present that level of
let me know when I can jump in.
Can I ask you just a quick question?
That level of feminist ideology, and you know this.
Let's assume that you're right. Can I ask you a quick question? Like just a really quick question. And Bernard, if you could show the map again so I can ask a question, because it's very relevant.
All right, hold on. Hold up.
So
damn, hold on.
The first thing is that I think you really don't understand how feminism is rampant on other countries, because I would argue with you that countries like Australia have way worse feminists than the United States. I would argue with you, but let's forget the point. I only see two countries in dark blue, right? You told your words that women that are the first sign that women don't respect men and are more feminist is because they don't maintain their weight. Explain to me how that country in the middle of the map, right? I don't know if you know the country, but go check it out. What that country in the dark on the Middle East, in the center of the map, Tell me why that country has the same obesity rate as the United States. Please explain.
What I can't see it, sir. So
Well, we can see it. It's right there. It looked like it's somewhere in the Middle East.
So I'm going to tell the name of the country.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. So explain to me how Saudi Arabia, because for your words,
Fatty,
feminism is
go ahead. Go ahead, Pablo.
Fatty, I'm going to answer for you.
Tell me, please.
Saudi Arabia is a religious a religious run state. The religion runs the state. And so women are required to be covered at all times. So it doesn't matter what their bodies look like because they cover them from head to toe. All right? Culture matters. And that is what I'm trying to explain to you, Fatty. Brazilian culture does not allow women to present themselves in a manner where beauty doesn't matter. That's why feminism could never take hold to the degree that it does in the United States.
Well, I got a real shorter point counter to what Fatty said is that, like, that looking at the whole map, that by definition, like literally by definition, is the exception to the rule. If that's the only other one country that's blue like the U.S. So pointing that one out doesn't really mean a whole lot.
It actually exposes how disingenuous you are. And I'm going to tell you, the only thing that Pablo was really fucking up on, and by the way, Pablo, that was actually a really good answer. But the only thing that Pablo is fucking up on, and this is something I do from time to time, is honestly, this conversation should have been dead. You keep saying in the chat, you super chatting, that you don't give a fuck about what we do. Yet you're jumping through hula hoops, going over the river and through the woods to try to talk about what somebody doesn't understand, which kind of tells me, it gives me an indication on how much you actually interact with African Americans in real life. Because truth be told, one of the things that African Americans do not like being said, the women damn sure don't like being said that, and the dudes don't either, is telling motherfuckers they don't understand by people that they don't respect or people they don't know. Only certain people, well, you don't understand, because that's really you saying you're fucking stupid. And the fact that you start that shit off the way you talk, because I don't believe you really fire that shit off with non-black people like that. The thing is, you're not qualified to have this fucking conversation because you first said you don't care. And second of all, who you're trying to tell us about shit that we lived. Like, nigga, you will never hear me trying to tell you about what you dealt with in Portugal. You would never do that. In fact, I wouldn't even hear shout out to one master teacher who's lived in London for like 6-7 years. He wouldn't say, well, I was in the EU too, or I'm in Europe, so I could tell you about what the fuck you're doing. And so the fact that you're even giving suggestions as to where we go, first of all, there are African Americans, more African Americans that go to Africa. This is what the fact is. More African Americans go to Africa and black men it's not even close, then go to fucking Latin America in general, let alone just Brazil. The largest African American population outside of the United States is in Accra, Ghana. Okay, and black men were traveling before black women. It's just when these things infrastructure-wise got to a certain point, black women started traveling. And
you are deflecting from the point. Stay on the point.
No, shut the fuck up.
Chill. Everybody, hold on. Everybody, whoa, stop. Everybody chill. We understand that Ed will hold on. We understand Ed will digress every now and then. That wasn't a deflection from the point. It was a side. It was just stop, Fatty. It was a little small side point, and he was about to come right back. He wasn't trying to deflect. All right, now let's go.
The point is, you're not like, this is a waste of time even having this conversation with you. Like, it's one thing to talk to the dude that's from Brazil. Cool. The fuck? Since you're not invested, why are you telling motherfuckers where to go? Like I said before, most African Americans go to Africa way more than Latin America. That's a fact.
Well, let me jump in right there because
that's you keep suggesting that. Hold on, look, because my thing is, he keeps suggesting that as if African American men are not already in Africa and been in Africa. So he's arguing shit that is based on certain shit that is not factual, yet he keeps telling people what they don't understand. Pablo is a lot older than you. And I don't know how you do it in your culture, but I doubt motherfuckers in your culture you would be talking greasy like that. You sound like one of these females that's like 22, 23 years old. They think they can talk to fucking Kevin any kind of way because that's what they were taught by their fucking mamas. Like, seriously, yo. Everything he does is like this lower level of disrespect. Like, as if I'm smarter than you Americans. Like, shut the fuck up.
Okay, cool. We got it. And I do want to steer the conversation towards that simple point, because the part where people, I think, blew the biggest gasket on it was when he brought up the, well, why not go to Africa then? And then the fact of the matter is, there's a high percentage of dudes that do traveling, that do the whole travel thing. They do go to some African countries. So it's like this is kind of predicated on what I think is a moot point. Pablo's preference is a more, probably a more sun-kissed, light brown Brazilian type of look. That's his thing. But a lot of brothers do go to those African countries, so it ends up being a moot point. So there's
he's
that.
not arguing
Well,
just Pablo.
I mean,
hold on.
We go where
Well,
we want.
if I could just say, I gave a very simple answer, and that's
And Pablo, your volume is a little low. Your volume is a little low. But go ahead, Ed. Game changer.
Well, I mean, I gave a very simple answer. It's further and more expensive. I don't
That's
see
true,
why
too.
that answer isn't sufficient. Like, it was a good question. Why don't the reason why I haven't gone is because it's further and more expensive. Like, that's the number one reason. And for whatever strange reason, when you donate blood, which I don't do, but when the office people come and then they ask, for volunteers to donate blood, on the questionnaire they ask, have you been to Africa? So I find that very strange. But I don't donate blood. Fuck everybody else. But the point is that
that'll make me damn near question going to Africa if I got
exactly.
They don't want y'all don't want my blood because I just stepped foot on African soil. What the fuck? Like, goddamn. But anyway,
that shit bothered me. Like, just like going there within the last year, they like, oh, fuck your blood, which is like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So it's shit like that really affects it. But all in all, especially if you live in California, the shit's just too damn far.
All right. Look, go ahead, Fatty.
Again, I wasn't the one that brought myself to the conversation. I super chatted at the beginning of the show, and I was watching and working without nothing. Pablo was the one that told that I was scared because of the map. If you look at the map, the reality is the more money the country has, the obesity problem is worse. That's why the United States, Canada, Australia, Europe are in blue. That's why the second world countries that are on the middle are in blue, and that's why the poor countries on middle of Africa and that are in the third world countries, India, and that they are is because of those people have less money, so they can. There's not a fat.
All right, okay. Well, let me ask you this. Those European countries, many of them have. I mean, I don't know all the details. Many of them have just as much money as the U.S., but they're not in dark blue like the U.S. You have to concede that there's a cultural difference there, and that cultural difference probably applies all through ACO. We can see all of Asia.
Can I explain why? Can I explain why, Bernard? When I go to Dubai,
I'm sure. Go ahead.
When I go to Dubai and when I go to the United States, you guys have buckets like this of Agendas. Your McDonald's meal.
Culture, no, that Fatty. We get that part, but there's so it's cultural reasons, and so yeah, eating big buckets of fried chicken is part of the reason why we're overweight. Are you saying you reject the premise at all that of all the many reasons why a culture being more feminist, you don't think that would have anything to do with it?
No, because it has to do with the portions that people serve. I'm fat too because I order $600 of Uber Eats per month. That's why I'm fat. If I was poor, I would be in shape. We like your small portions are big portions here in Europe.
Right. But don't you think a more feminist leaning country that promotes more egalitarian things and promotes body positivity, all of these are very left leaning on the spectrum of feminist ideals. You don't think countries that lean hard and heavy in that no pun intended.
I can agree.
That lean hard and heavy in that direction
of course,
that's connected to the feminism, which is going to further promote women to be more likely to indulge in those big proportions, other than making the decision to pull away from it because they're told that they're beautiful anyway, because all women are beautiful and all women should be accepted, and all women. You don't think that those are some feminist ideals that at least contribute to the U.S. being in dark blue?
Yes, I'm trying
to. I'm being a lawyer here. So if you can see that feminism contributes to that, why the U.S. is in dark blue, you don't think that Pablo is at least making sense in saying that going to other countries that don't have that type of culture that accepts all women at all ways and all shapes and all sizes? You don't think that he's basically saying you don't think it makes sense for him to say, due to them not having that ideology, that makes it a more target rich environment for the type of women that I want, and that's why I go there? You don't think that makes sense at all?
I agree with him, but that's not the point. You move the goalposts. What I was saying, somebody has an echo.
I swear you just
somebody has an echo. Man. What I was saying, if the like, I agree with you. I'm having this conversation in good faith. The feminists and the body positivity movement make women get sloppy. I get it, but if that was the case, countries like Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Saudi Arabia that are highly patriarchy and that feminism doesn't fly there wouldn't have the obesity rates that they have. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Fucking stupid.
Well, if
look at the map. How am I stupid? Look at the map.
I'm talking about the conversation in general.
Is feminist rampant in Russia?
So I just want.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead, GC.
Okay, so I mean, we talk about moving the goalposts, but we all moved the goalposts significantly. I think the inaugural argument for this was that Brazil was the same as the U.S., and it's not, because Brazil is light blue and the U.S. is dark blue. So that alone,
conversation over.
that alone ends the conversation in Pablo's favor. Like, no matter what.
And I agree with him. I agree.
So that being the case, the conversation is over at that point. Like,
and I agree with him.
Argument. Okay, good. Then we can agree to agree.
Hey, I'm about to hop off real quick, but I also want to say, Game Changer, correct me if I'm wrong. You still dating? I mean, you travel, but you still dating the United States, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's be clear here. Shout out to Austin. But everybody is not, and I don't know if Pablo's on this necessarily. Everybody is not on the I don't date in the United States. So we got Bernard, who has his relation, has his medium term. I don't want to call it long term relationship. Is an established relationship.
Yeah,
I haven't traveled. Well, I don't want to call it long term, like you know what I mean. Established. Established is a good word. I was finding.
All right, cool. Whatever.
You agree? Okay. So, I haven't traveled in a while. I haven't traveled since like COVID, because I'm not vaxxed up, so I already know that's one thing they're gonna try to do. Pablo travel. So everybody's on different degrees to this. Most people are not on the I don't date at all in the United States, because then you got people that they still date African American women. Then you got people that still may date American women but travel, or people that believe in travel augmenting. This idea of what can't be done here and what people get. That's why the tattoo argument. Oh man, I was about to pull my hair out with that bullshit, because you're telling somebody to make a permanent choice, just to get which type of chick. And I wouldn't even tell that to an incel. But anyway, the point is that the way these arguments are presented, it's assumed that people are saying, I absolutely will not deal with a black woman or African American woman under any circumstances, or take that aside, an American woman, which is white, Latina, Asian, that's here at all. Hell, if they step on here day one, if they're from somewhere else, I'm not dealing with them, which is absolutely not true. We shout out to Art Nostal, who actually is married to a Brazilian woman that he got from Brazil. You have people that met people that are from other places in the United States. There's a lot of people on a lot of different spectrums on this. So this idea that we always want to argue it against, you can't get no women, or why you do this, why you doing this, especially even with like I said, with the African thing, more black people are going to Africa than anywhere else as far as an overall group. But just because Brazil gets promoted for views, because that's really what that is at the end of the day, does not mean that's where everybody else is going. Because a lot of people don't want to deal with the language barrier. Because
Brazil do got better advertisement. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
but it depends on what type of channels you are looking at. Search for Huru, which has 100 and something thousand. Shout out to Dynas. You got O'Shea's King Ghana channel. There is a lot of channels. It just so happens that a lot of dudes, hell, Zoom to Thailand.
No,
Thailand gets
I'm
a
not
lot
even
of
talking. I'm not even talking about in this space. I'm just saying in general.
okay.
Hell,
Well, that's
I got
been
hit.
true.
Before I was paying for YouTube Premium, I got hit with a commercial about men. No, about I think black men dating Brazilian women. They sent me an advertisement for beautiful women in Brazil. Like that shit popped up while I was on the air. Like
The
goddamn.
advantage
Like
that Brazil
that's what I mean by Brazil got better promotion and advertisement.
the
Like it's
advantage-
some beautiful women in Africa. I'm just saying they don't put on the campaign to showcase it like they do in a lot of those a lot of those other countries. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Brazil has a better, that too. I mean, that is true. And then not to mention, I hate to bring up the descendants of slaves piece, but the black people in the Western Hemisphere, that is a common now. Remember, the least amount of slaves came to North America. People forget that. So the thing in the United States is that this is the myth that we're told as black people. It's not just Brazil. It's the most pronounced in Brazil is that black people only came to North America. That's not true. It's not true. And even if you take out the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, the folks that, are kind of in the middle, that how black people see it, if you remove them from the equation, there is more than enough actual like Carmelo Anthony style black people down there. Even if you take Brazil off the question, Panama, Costa Rica, pick a country. Brazil, you're right. It gets the most advertising because I think it benefits the most from tourism. They actually have a budget for that. I'll answer that. But if we account for the one drop rule, which I know Game Changer, I do. I mean, Brazil is 80% black. If you account for that, which everybody doesn't look at it that way, but I'm just saying. So my point is, Brazil wouldn't even be on the top of my list to recommend if I was telling somebody where to go as far as in the Western Hemisphere. That's just me. So anyway, like I said, this we need to stop arguing this stuff like black men are only doing this and not doing this. It's a bad faith argument, and it's a lot of people that are not researched. The fact that Africa was presented is bullshit.
Anyway. Right. Okay. All right. Number 16 in the building. And shout out to number 16. I ain't seen you around here in a minute. So shout out to you. He says Fatty is the guy. I ain't seen you around here and just came here to stir up some shit. No, just playing. But no, shout out to number 16. He says Fatty is the GOAT. Don't encourage this shit. No, just playing. But Manosphere Maniac in the building says, I think good health should be emphasized at a young age, and you should actually fail gym class if you don't weigh a healthy body weight. This would help to fight obesity in the U.S. What do you think? If they start failing kids for being fat, I mean, one, that'll never happen. But if they did that, yes, it would certainly help. It will certainly help. JC the Conqueror in the building says, why y'all keep letting this clown on panels in the Manosphere? He keep his goofy ass on Fight Club. That wasn't very nice of you, JC the Conqueror. Fatty is welcome. But I do think he kind of argue in bad faith from time to time. But and speaking of arguing in bad faith, this person here, Dewan Hodis says, bruh, this data is including men. It says adults. Yes. If the population overall is fatter in a country, then that means the women overall is fatter in the country. So it's really an irrelevant point that the data is including men.
No, it's a very relevant point.
We also we also got data to show that women that doesn't show up good. But we got data to show
only one where the women are fatter than the men. Let's be clear. So it is possible that places like Saudi Arabia just got a bunch of fat ass men.
Yeah.
Like, it's very possible. But
all right. That's a good. Oh God, I didn't even look at it from that angle. No, the men could be in some countries. The men could be fat as hell, and the women are skinny because the men are just eating and marrying three hot skinny. They marrying 4 hot skinny wives while they getting fat and eating but starving the bitches. All right, Ecapone in the building says Brasileiras. What is that?
Brazilian woman, basically.
Is that an actual term, or did he make that up?
No, Brasileiras are Brazilian woman translation. Okay. Brasileiras.
Okay, some are hot, some are not. All right. All right. So,
and just Bernard, just to say one thing, the map that he showed included men too. This is the map that he showed, if I'm not mistaken. On this panel,
no, we agree.
Yeah, he's orange too, and he had man too. I'm just showing, and he's exactly the same.
Yeah,
Again,
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good on that. But
I mean, if we're gonna keep talking about the map, I do want to say that I often
it's about to be the last statement about the map because we can move on and get semi back on topic.
Yeah, so I have a strong attraction to Ethiopian / Eritrean physical traits, and I haven't been there, and that's because of the distance. I think it's plain and simple. I would have to actually fly over Asia from California. I would have to fly over Asia and Trans-Pacific to get there, and it's easier to just go to Asia. Like it's really, for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's a matter of distance. We're talking about the northwestern hemisphere versus the southeastern hemisphere. We don't even match like one hemisphere with them.
Well, first of all, it's disingenuous to try to start telling grown men where to go. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah, I agree.
And when you do that, it tells me that there's some underlying other reason why you want to divert and direct other men to some other area than the one that they choose to go. There ain't no other reason to do that.
All right.
So I've been to DC several times. I used to go to Howard Homecoming all the time. It's
well, you shouldn't go to DC. You should go to Philly.
Well, no, I haven't been to Philly, but I've been to DC.
But girls are skinnier in Philly. You need to go to Philly.
Oh, well, I only been to DC like during events where women come from all over for whatever reason, like Howard Homecoming. I haven't been just like on a day to day.
Why go to DC when you could go to Philly?
Oh, I don't know. There's not much reason, like outside of events, there's not much reason to go to any of these places for the women. Now, there
are more better events in Philly. You should go to Philly.
Okay.
You see where I'm going with that?
No. Oh, I see what you're saying. My bad. I do see where you're going. Like, yeah, just the arbitrary try to tell you where to point your dick. Yeah, I get that.
All right. What the hell was we talking about? What the hell was this show about?
This is what I did. The reason why I came up, since we're looking for a segue, the reason why I came up was because I want to ask you, was that her dude that went to 50 states looking like? Why was she tripping? I don't get it. Was that her dude?
Oh, that chick. No, that was I'll pull that back up. This is a situation that some of y'all probably heard about, know about. The chick that it was some dude on social media. He probably for all I know, he got a YouTube channel. I don't know that much about him. I didn't really care. All I know is he dated 50 women in 50 states, and then some woman of the African American persuasion had a problem with all the women were white women, but the dude that did it wasn't even a black dude. He was some white dude, and she just it took some issue with it for some reason.
Okay, so I can understand why she's upset about that.
Explain that one.
Well, and that's because they want to be represented in the list of desirable women. However, they're not, and it's really not just because of looks, even though that's a large portion of it. Them being too fat and just generally too physically unappealing, that is a part of it. But really, Black American women are so culturally foreign to everybody else in the world that people just as soon not deal with them at all.
They could have did like The Bachelor and just get one or two token black chicks that will get eliminated early like that. They could have did that, but she's saying that I don't know if I'll play the clip for people who didn't see it, even though it's been out for a minute. Some of y'all probably saw it, but here we go. I'll go ahead and play it.
This guy has made a show of going on a date with a woman from every state, and let me just show you why he's getting a lot of hate. I think it's fair to say.
Now, I just want to say, I don't know how popping this dude's social media is or how popular he is, but he just went on a date in 50 states with 50, at least 8s and up.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he has sleeve tattoos.
Come on, man. You was taking this cut. You was taking where he was going the wrong way, but no, okay. But yeah, I don't this dude, and I don't know how fast he did that. Like if he got that done in 100 days, like damn. But anyway.
that my guy has a type. But here's what really makes me mad. This is the girl he went on a date with from Hawaii. Like,
Okay, can we pause for a second?
sir, what you not?
Times like this, I do think that it's very important to point out certain things. That is that the woman here, the woman that's announcing it, is significantly unattractive than the women that he's seen in other states. It must be pointed out in order to understand the mentality of women dealing with others. But please continue.
All right. Somebody is saying the funny thing about this is that it's fake. LOL, he did a prank. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I can believe that just for the simple fact that that is a daunting task to pull off unless you have a social media presence to where you got millions of followers, and that is a daunting task to pull off, especially in a small amount of time, to date 50 eights and nines from 50 different states. And like, so I wasn't buying it as possible unless he did it over a long period of time, or he has a really thriving, popping social media. But anyway, so fake or not, her reaction to it is real. So we'll go with that. Yeah, Carter, affirmative action dating is what homegirl is asking for.
With from Hawaii. Like, sir, what you not finna do? You not finna play us, sir. You not finna play us, sir. Then this is the girl he went on a date with from New Mexico, who is actually, if you look on her Instagram, from Long Island. So
there's a New Mexico?
What do you mean?
No, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Okay, it went over.
But the
what you say, Fatty?
Don't you have the
No, I don't have that, but
the drum thing, yeah, but yeah.
It's more.
All right, it was.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Sir, if you have a type, you didn't even have to go across 50 states for that. Like, you really just dated the same girl in every single state. Like, where is the seasoning? Let me know, y'all.
Here's the thing about Black women. They assume that people are the same because they categorize people by race and ethnicity. They always assume. They don't understand the intricacies of different levels of hotness between people. Take this chick, big and wig, right? She was like, how come when a Latina has an attitude, it's spicy, but when a Black woman has an attitude, it's ratchet? Listen, when you're fat as shit with a wig, everything you do is going to be wronger than a woman who's not fat as shit with a wig. Stop trying to say, oh, we're in the same category because we're both single mothers. Shut your ass up. She fine, you not. Like, they act like it's only one category of bad, and if you share that category of bad, you're the same. No, you're not the same. Some women are better than others, and therefore they get more leeway with faults. That woman was not the same as the previous woman to a person who understands.
All right. To me, what I say to that, that spicy shit that they say, there is a percentage of dudes that they say the actual Black equivalent, where they be saying, just like some dudes be like, oh, I like her, I like her, she's spicy, or she whatever. Yeah, some dudes when they're talking about Black women, they be like, oh, I like her, she feisty, or or you've heard dudes say, I like a hood bitch, I like it, like this. It's an unattractive equivalent, I'll say, of dudes who like a chick that's a little fiery and give them a certain amount of pushback or a certain amount of fight or a certain amount of this or certain of that. It's dudes who's into that, and they try to use term like, oh, when she do it, you say it's spicy, but when I do it, I'm being, dysfunctional or aggressive or something. Like, we can't tell the difference between the two. Like, that's where you get on some stupid shit.
Well,
right.
I mean, but
let me roll the tape.
Go for it.
You not finna do? You not finna play us, sir. You not finna play us, sir. Then this is the girl he went on a date with from New Mexico, who is actually, if you look on her Instagram, from Long Island. So, sir, if you have a type, You didn't even have to go across 50 states for that. Like, you really just dated the same girl in every single state. Like, where is the seasoning? Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments, because I'm feeling like this was unnecessary. So this guy has made a show going on.
All right, that's it right there. That's it right there. But that was pretty much the video. It went viral, where she was basically bitching because some white dude has a preference for white women, and allegedly went on a 50-state date, 50 women in 50 states, and didn't pick a single black woman. And she's upset about that. To the credit of the internet, she did get clowned in the comment section for that. So I will say that people didn't run to her defense. Like, they rightfully called her stupid for even making a big deal about that.
Well, they want the physical validation. They basically see, here's the reality that they would rather avoid, and that is that when men go out looking for women, they are not looking for black women. They are the least like very few people, and except for the all the way down pro blacks, or the dudes who have very low standards. When they go out, they're just looking for a general population of women, which means that there's only like a 13% chance that they wind up with a black woman. Or they are going out looking specifically for a race of women that does not include black, or ethnicity of women that does not include black. And that is because of the high undesirability of the rank and file black women. I'm not saying that there are not individual appealing black women in the community, but what I'm saying is, okay, so if you're in California, right, and there's a Mexican club and then there's a black club, men would just as soon go to the Mexican club, and for several reasons, really. Not only are the women more likely to be in shape, let's just say at the very least, and have their real hair. However, the key thing is that they are more willing to suck my dick. So it's like some women have the intelligence to say, you know something, what I lack in looks, I make up for in accessibility. However, they don't even do that. They're ugly as shit and still don't put out to make up for it. So it's a bad deal all around. And yeah, so and that's what she's dealing with. And that, combined with the fact that the culture is so incompatible with everybody else in the world that they just as soon not deal with it. I mean, the only reason why we as black men deal with it is because we was born into this shit. But generally speaking, people that have a choice would choose not to deal with no crap like that. Who in the hell wants to deal with some chick with calamus? That is just ridiculous.
What is calamus? Wait, never mind. Hold your thought on that. Telescope in the building says sardine flavored ice cream is mad that dude keep picking the French vanilla. Yeah, it is stupid. Like somebody said in the chat, so white dudes can't even date white women now. That's why that was just more so just weird than anything. But Jaquan in the building says she's mad about New Mexico and Hawaii because she wanted him to pick a non-white. Like, there's no white women in those places is the real reason. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you everybody. Thank you everybody who's contributed to the show. What was I going to say? I'm trying to see if I missed something. No, I think I got everything. Yeah, shout out to all the who's now here we go. Shout out to Sir Tyson in the building. He says, if that isn't DICE, I forgot what DICE is. Tell me in the chat what DICE stand for. Dick Investigations. Tell me what DICE stand for in the chat. I forgot. He said, if that isn't DICE, you shouting out Edward Anderson. I think Edward Anderson came up with that. He says, I don't know what is. This is as bad as that chick that called frolicking racist. That's a new one on me. I don't know nothing about that. Go Mojo channel in the building says, the mind of an incel. Who are you referring to when you say the mind of an incel? Just curious what you're talking about right there. K Dot is the person who told me that it was all pretend, it was all fake. He said it's because they want mixed kids with so-called good hair and light eyes. It was interesting on my last stream. It was like the the women on that panel, they were accusing black men of wanting that. Kids with lighter skin and lighter eyes and lighter this and lighter that. And other than like one instance where something went viral, maybe two instances where something went viral, because whenever a black man says something about that, it goes viral. But you could hear black women all the time in real life and online all over saying that. And Mike, my bad, Mike, you saying I skipped your super chat. He says Fatty sounds like the black woman in the video dick policing. Fatty laid back chilling right now. Why y'all trying to get him. Y'all trying to get him started. Y'all trying to get him started. He chilling right now. We transitioned and we moved on that whole conversation about Fatty and another brother from Brazil came up and spoke about the women there from their perspective. Again, I think it was some good points made. I think it was some I didn't want to get into it. It was some arguments that I determined to be disingenuous, but overall, it was some good points made, and it's something to average into the equation that the women in Brazil, they probably treat the local Brazilian men different than they treat the American black men that show up with American dollars. I mean, that generally makes sense. So could right there it could have just been a good conversation and didn't have to get contentious. And I can't even remember why it did. Get contentious. But somebody said, is Fatty a pookie?
I'm tattoo maxing or whatever you guys said, I guess.
No, that's not our word. We was talking about somebody else's shit, the tattoo maxing. That's not.
I know.
I
was just fucking around, messing around. Apologize for my language.
Oh no, you're good. I cuss on my show, but no, that was a BPJ from the Black Pill. Well, he's associated with aspects of the incels that be online, and they use the term maxing when it comes to everything: tattoo maxing, thug maxing, height maxing, gym maxing.
I believe in airline. I believe in airline maxing and going to the barber maxing. I believe in those two. I guess.
Yeah. We talked about that too. That's some weird shit. Some weird shit that they even call it maxing. Kristen Hutchinson in the building says, for society to work, there has to be a social contract. Rank and file men need an incentive to be productive. That takes us back to the original thing that we were talking about, where there's a lot of men are pulling away because there's not motivation. There's not motivation and incentive for even getting in the game. We talk about how the school system, how they pointed out 7%, 7 out of 10 valedictorians are female. The colleges is 60-40 man to woman. And then it was also pointed out that college educated women don't want to marry college educated men, and all the women start clapping and cheering. I mean, don't want to marry men that who are not college educated, and all the women start cheering and clapping. And then so it all comes to a boil where you look at it. It's going to be a percentage of men that kind of going to be left out of the process, and if they left out of the process, what do? They
get tattoos.
Come on, GC. He was in Platinum's coming up here. I don't even know if Platinum would say that, but he wasn't saying you gotta have tattoos to get bitches. He wouldn't say that. That wasn't his argument. In
an indirect way, it was, but there's no need to bring that up because he's not here.
And he's kind of right, by the way, just for the record. Because if you are saying that, if we say on these spaces that women like bad boys, guys that bad vibes, get in a motorcycle, a bunch of tattoos, and a leather jacket, probably will get you more women. That's fucking real. That's reality.
That was the thing that I generally I wouldn't tell.
It's reality. It's reality.
No, I would never tell a dude. I would never tell a dude if it doesn't fit his personality to just go do that just to get women.
Course.
But obviously, there's a percentage of women that like that aesthetic. So in that sense, it will help. But that's an extreme thing to do. I mean, like I said, get a lineup, get a fresh lineup And I mean, it's plenty of things you can. There's plenty of aesthetic things you could do.
I'll put it like this: if you're under the impression that chicks dig lames that pretend to be thugs, then you're gonna have a hard life.
Agreed. That's what I said. If it don't fit your personality, don't do the shit.
Yeah. They don't know how to vet people. They choose men like they choose bags. If it looks good, they are going to pick it up. Exactly. That's the point. Like I'm not talking about an absolute nerd that goes around like I'm talking about someone that is normal, but has the looks of is perceived as a bad boy in terms of looks. You're going to get a lot of women just because of that, because the trap is laid up.
Yeah, no, attractive attract is a very true statement. Now I do want to, if I could move back to the thing, because people are under the impression that she was into the guy. I don't think that she may or may not have been into the guy. We'll never know. I think that people are missing one thing when they assume that she was attracted to the guy. And that is that Black women, and I don't know if other women are like this, they probably are, but to a much lesser extent, Black women want the men that they don't want to want them. I'm going to repeat that. Black women want the men that they don't want to want them. Meaning that if they see a guy in Brazil, they'll say, hey, how come he didn't stay back here and get with the Black women's here? And, the question that should always be asked in that scenario is, did you suck his dick before he left? Were you willing to suck his dick before he left? Did you want him before he left? Because you still want him to want you, even though you don't want him. It's a very sick and twisted cycle. So the fact that she's complaining doesn't really necessarily mean that she wants him. She just wants him to want her, even though she don't want him. As fucked up as that is mentally, that is what's going on. It's kind of like having a company. And I think I used this analogy before. It's kind of like having a company and you're not actually hiring anybody, but you still want a bunch of people to apply for a job that's not even open, just because your ego needs that much healing. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. It's sick, it's twisted, and it's a waste of people's time. And that reason alone is reason enough to why dudes like that wouldn't even consider them as women, because they don't want to play those fucked up games.
I think it's way simpler than that.
Okay, go for it.
Because a lot of men came to the conclusion that a lot of women at least, not saying all, when it comes to their personal relationships, they are on a teenager kind of level, right? They don't mature very well. If you're talking to a 21-year-old or a 30-year-old, you might be talking to the same person a lot of the times, because they don't mature very well after they get attractive. So there's one thing that's like usually an analogy that talks about the kid that has a toy and he never plays with the toy. But as soon as the cousins come home and start to play with that toy that was there for 3 months without playing, they get mad because now they want to play with the toy. And it happens with all the kids. This is exactly what's happening right now. I think it's the evolution of the kid nature. They see other people playing with the toy, and now because other people have the toy, they want to play with the toy too. So I think it's the evolution, like the simple evolution in terms of that. Because pre-selection on woman, it's very it's a very strange principle, but women really want what other women want. So if the other woman pick up the toy, they want to play it too. It is what it is.
No, I definitely agree with that. But as it applies to passport bros, by that analogy, they should suck your dick when you get back.
But they don't. They don't want to.
A man should be so, and that's where that analogy with the kid, because they want to play with the toys that the cousins play with. So the modern Black women, though child of mind, they still don't want to play with the toy that the Brazilian women just played with. It's very weird because they're fucked up that way.
Can I ask you two a question?
It's like the equivalent of the kid taking the toy from the cousins. I don't want to play with it right now. I'm about to put it up on the shelf. I'm not playing with it, and you can't play with it either.
Exactly. So it's a whole different level of childhood. It's a whole different level of childhood.
So Bernard and Game Chamber, do you ever had a girl that put you on the friend zone, And when you said, okay, if
Do
we
I
are
ever
friends,
what? Hold on. Do I ever what?
if did you ever have on the situation where you had a girl, you were interested in her romantically, and she said, okay, we are going to be friends. And as soon as you say, hey, can you at least let me know your friend, she gets annoying because what they want is really the attention. It's not because they want you.
I agree.
It's not because they want you. They want your attention. And if you say, please, then let me meet your friend, she's going to be pissed because she's losing the attention. It's exactly about that.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with you. Like on that, they want the men that they don't want to want them, and for the reason that you just said, for the attention, absolutely. Now, somebody whose name I can't pronounce said something interesting. It says the same way you want, you don't want the woman with kids. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. I just require more from a woman with kids than I require from a woman without kids. I would definitely get with an exceptional woman with kids, a woman with 3 titties. If she has a kid, I would overlook that because she has an extra tit. You know, like, so yeah, if a woman is, why are you looking like that, Bernard?
You said, if I understood that right, the third titty was a positive?
Yeah, the third titty is that's a negative to you?
3 titties.
There's nothing wrong with 3 titties, Bernard. I think that that's a plus. Every now and again,
I like a woman with sexy eyes, but if she got a third eye in the middle right there, I'm not fucking with her.
No,
I feel the same way about that that alien titty in the middle.
Not even from the back, Bernard?
Ah, good. I like the way you think, Fatty.
You're not going to see the eye from the back. That's okay.
Shout out
Tenchi Nunn was still a great fighter from DBZ.
Shout out to Christian Hutchison with the $10 super chat. Says academics, demographers, and government officials are sounding the alarm. ISIS was a direct result of lack of jobs, intimate relationships, and for prime age males in the Middle East. We have too many guns here. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. And okay, so I think he's taking a shot. I think, yeah, okay. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Do appreciate that. All right.
You damn right I watch too many sci-fi movies. Somebody said, yes, I do. I watch a sci-fi movie, and when I see 3 titties, I'm like, damn, I wish humans had it. Fuck what y'all thinking. Yes. You see enough and like, ooh, that's a good idea. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'll fuck a purple bitch from Avatar in a second. Fuck what all y'all say. They got purple eyes. You're right, they're blue, but they have purple eyes. And they should.
I'll say this: when it comes to the aliens that you may, I mean, I watch the Orville a lot. When it comes to the aliens that's there, or even that you see in like Star Wars, like it's some like them green chicks in Star Wars, they gotta be very humanoid. Like the human features gotta be like 98% of everything, but if they just a different shade or color, like I understand. Like it's some blue alien chicks I've seen in movies that could get it, but if they got 3 eyes, 3 titties, or appendages and or tentacles or some
no, not tentacles. 3 titties is the worst I do, not tentacles. But Bernard, okay, well let me ask you this: what about that thing? I think it's a Twi'lek. Jabba the Hutt had her on a leash. Now you could tell she was a black woman, but
that's what I was referring to. Yeah, she was green.
So right?
She had those things that came right there that went down
exactly.
that kind of represented her hair. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
she could get it. She can get it. Now if she had 3 titties, that's just too alien.
When Brittany Griner comes back from Russia, you'll have the opportunity to all at Avatar. Sorry for the joke. I think it was too much.
Yeah. No, it was just, I don't think she's as important to us domestically as she appears internationally.
No, I was talking about the physical looks because the avatars are 12 foot 11.
So. Oh no, I'm talking about if I was 12 foot, like relative to me, I wouldn't want to just get with a chick that towers over me and I'm in human form. But no, relative to me, I'd fuck whatever that is on Avatar. Is what I'm saying, and there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion. But yeah, like a female orc or some shit, no. But back to what she was saying. What I'm saying is exceptional women, you overlook the kid for exceptional women. But I don't have a problem with a woman with a kid other than the fact that they have to be exceptional. They have to make up for it in other ways.
Jay Daniels in the building. We're about to wrap this up pretty soon. When we're talking about our taste in alien bitches, it's about time to wrap the show up. But Jay Daniels in the building says the black woman who wrote The Color Purple book demonizing black men was the first black woman to marry a white man in the state of Mississippi in the 60s. Hashtag backstabbers. Interesting fun fact. I didn't know that she
Yeah,
was
I
the
didn't know that
first to
either.
do that.
Alice Walker was the first person to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting fun facts. Interesting fun facts. All right.
I wouldn't say that's a backstabber. I mean, the movie Color Purple is definitely a stab, but I wouldn't say like her marriage to Dude was a stab in the back. That's
yeah. Alice
was
Walker.
a stab in his back. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and Bernard, before you go, I just want to say one thing. Like the last conversation that we had, I don't think he was in good faith, because I think the first question would be, "Hey, Ferry, where have you been?" Right? I think that's the first question for you to have a conversation in good faith. When you are talking to someone about the house, you ask, "Okay, are you an architect? Are you an engineer? Are you a home renovation?"
It was established that you were from Brazil, and we were talking about Brazil.
But that was the point. I said 7 times, I'm from Portugal. I'm not from Brazil. I visited a lot. I visited the United States a lot.
Okay.
And that the conversation didn't pass from where are you? Because I'm a passport bro way before all this shit blows up. Because if you're going to look at what I do, it's exactly that. So that's why I didn't think the conversation was in good faith, because people were.
It was my understanding that you I thought you were from Brazil, or then you said something about Portugal, but I accepted that you were somebody who was foreign and on the ground out there and live out there, and I'm assuming I assumed Portugal was I guess similar to Brazil.
They are brother countries. We speak both Portuguese. We have a deep connection, novellas, music, everything. So
it's like that was sort of established that that's why I didn't question that, because I remember I think you had said something like they were like next door, or I don't know where it's at on the map. I'm like looking it up right now.
Portugal is next to Spain. It's the first country when you come to Europe. It's the first country.
Yeah. Portugal is made out of Spain in a sense.
So instead of asking me, okay, what are your qualifications to talk about this? Oh, what's your body count? Well, how many women would you have?
Who said that?
It doesn't make sense.
Who said what's your body count? Who said that?
They was asking me how many women did I mess on the United States and on Brazil to know there.
Oh yeah, no, that was a fair question, because you were making a comparison between Brazilian women and United States women, and the other men on the panel that was saying it's a difference with Brazilian women. They can say they dated both of them, so they wanted to know, had you been here and actually dated American women? That was a fair question.
Yeah, there was no, it's not, because I told them before, I understand American culture. I've been there on the last 2 years more than 10 times. I've been to Brazil. My father's out of African. I've been to Africa. I've been all over Europe. I've been to Canada. But instead of asking that, oh, how many women? What's the body count? 3 and 2 don't count.
I think asking have you been with American women was part of the qualifying questions to get your credentials to speak on.
But do you remember the second part?
And somebody is saying he's lying. He was asked about his qualifications. I don't even remember, but I know it was understood that you and I think I forgot the brother's name. I think his name was John or Jonathan, that came up, that both of y'all lived or was born or was from overseas. He was specifically born and raised in Brazil and still there, and you were close by. That was generally understood. So I don't get what you're saying.
Do you think that if I ask you, hey Bernard, how many women do you sleep, and 2 and 3s don't count, is a good conversation in good faith? When I'm throwing a subtle dig, a subtle dig to you, saying that 2 and 3s don't count because you probably only get 2 and 3s. Do you think it's not a diss there?
It depends. It depends on the context of the conversation. If I was saying that American women are better, and then you ask me about the American, if I've been with Brazilian and American women, and you ask me whether or not American women are better, and I say, oh yeah, American women are great. This dating market is awesome. I don't know what they're talking about. And then you found out that the only women that I've had sex with in America were freaking twos that they looked like Leslie Jones. Then it's like, you really can't.
Yeah, I'm not qualified. That's fair.
Yeah, so no, I don't think it probably could have been presented better. It probably could have been presented better. But either way it go, we closing in on the 3-hour mark. So I'm about to wrap this thing on up. And you say it says this is why he belongs to Fight Club.
Today I was very civil and
wrong
polite.
with it. I like pushback and people to challenge, and ain't nothing wrong with a good argument. This show is kind of built on that. When I bring somebody up for a one-on-one, we have a conversation. If people disagree with what they're saying, I open it up. I say, all right, you're gonna face the firing squad. And people
did I do okay, Bernard? Like, was I civil and normal? Like,
oh no, you was cool today. You was cool today. You wasn't doing that thing you do where you heckle the person that's talking. But
wow, Bernard.
Yeah, you know how you do. You know how you do. You know how you do. All right, y'all. We about to get up out of here. I'd like to thank everybody who supported the stream. We definitely hit the goal today. Y'all came through hard and heavy supporting the channel. Let me make sure it ain't got no cash app so that I'm forgetting about. But I think I got to. Oh wait, no, I didn't get to everybody's super chat, or did I? He says, please get them in line, Bernard. I have no idea what he's talking about there. But shout out to you. I do appreciate the super chat. You super chatted multiple times. Shout out to Jay Daniels.
You already read that one.
Yeah, no, I'm just shouting out. I'm just double checking and shouting out. All right, yep, I got everybody. Okay, all right. Listen, thank you, everybody. We're about to get up out of here. Y'all definitely made this a good show. The audience came out hard and heavy, and I think y'all hit the like button, but I don't even know. But whether you like, shared, subscribe, watched in indifference, whatever, I do appreciate each and every one of you. And we are out of here. Peace. We gone.